All right. Morning to everybody. As we're getting this show started this morning, I'll give you a show. The morning, and we'll have the game tonight. I'm going to do a whip around tonight. That is, what is that's going to be? Well, the main game we're going to focus on starts at 7 o'clock. It's Connor Hellebuck, who many believe is the MVP of the NHL this year. He's having a phenomenal year for a goalie, and he's going to go to Montreal against the surging Canadians and their new quarterback, uh, their new goalie, uh, Kevin Dubach, and we'll be on the air at 6:55 tonight, 6:45 tonight, and we'll get that game started. Montreal and Winnipeg. That's tonight. We'll also whip around late stars and Vegas out in Vegas. Hurricanes and Rangers. That's at 7 o'clock also. And we're going to do Portland and Milwaukee late tonight. Calgary and Washington on the Ovechkin watch. Calgary playing well. Washington best team in the NHL right now. And we're going to keep an eye on the surging Rockets. And I remember back last April, I told everybody in here I'm going to take the Rockets to win 55 games. Why? Who's the head coach? You don't think the Rockets are good? They swept Cleveland this week, but just passed. They swept Cleveland and won in Boston last night. And I know that was sweet for Udoka. And his players won that game for him. So you all better keep an eye on my Houston Rockets, okay? Let's start this. Connor McJesus came back last night from a 3-game suspension. I'm going to ruffle some feathers here for the NHL hockey Canadians while I'm doing this. And McDavid, he came back from a 3-game suspension and scored a goal last night. You thought the Oilers was playing in Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals again at the old Northlands Coliseum. As Edmonton rolled last night, Oilers are strong, folks. They look strong right now. Okay, in the West, anybody could come out of that. I mean, the teams are that strong. Now, Calgary, no. Colorado, yes, and they're the 7th seed. So, but Edmonton continues to roll, and I'm going to be doing the Royal Rumble up here Saturday night. But you better believe my TV will be on Toronto at Edmonton on Saturday night. So the Oilers continue to roll. The Lakers, who at one time had a 27-point lead, and they cost me money last night, survived in Charlotte of all places. This is why people like me totally ignore anything LeBron does in the Lakers because of last night. You got to be effing kidding me. You had Charlotte down and out, and you gave those lower than life scumbags uh, uh life? Seriously? I don't know about that, man. I really, really don't know about that. I really don't. It's comical to me. So the Lakers are playing well, though. They're in Philly tonight. They should win that one. Houston. This was the one that made me roll out of my bed at 4:30 this morning. I checked the score, and they won in Boston. And I know for you, Doka, that was huge. And the Rockets keep rolling. Let me see what's the Rockets record right now. Let me take a oh, I forgot I don't have what you call it. I forgot. I'll get that back this week. I'm surprised teams are lined up for Sam Donald. Why? You saw the true Sam Donald against the Rams, against the Lions. Oh my God. What a joke he is. and he is not in my top 20 of quarterbacks, by the way. He's not. And you well know I've been pumping it up, the top 20 quarterbacks I have. And I'm going to shock you all. I'm putting Bryce Young at 15. So, what the hell you think I truly feel about 16 to 20? You really want to know? They all suck ass. And one of them, his father was whining about his son lay down the field. What a phony he is. I'll get to Sam Tungalo. Okay, let me just look at the standings in the NBA. All right, Cleveland got a 5.5 point game lead on Boston. Knicks are 6.5 games out. No one cares about the Bucks. And we'll see Milwaukee Sunday night against John Morant. What a joke. Let's see. Uh, all right, Houston's the second seed in the West, and they're uh, 17 games over 500. The Grizzlies are a game behind. The Nuggets are 3.5 behind. The Lakers gaining momentum. I'm telling you, folks, 10.5 behind, 4.5 behind Houston. Clippers are 5.5 behind Houston. After that, no one cares. I mean, it's just a piece of shit conference. Okay? And that is all I gotta say about the NBA. Oh, the NBA sucks ass, I tell you. All right, let me get to this big trade and the after effects of the Avalanche and Hurricane deal on Friday night, where Neckis and Drury they go to Colorado for Lightning, and the Blackhawks get money towards their cap, which means they got more cap space. And the third round pick, and everybody's dogging Chicago about this. No, Chicago know what they're doing. Chicago, there's a nice free agent crop. Chicago's a major city. They just came off a dynasty a decade ago. They got Connor Bedard, and we'll see what happens there with the Chicago situation. As for the Avalanche, uh, there are some new NHL rules. It's going to go back to sadly 30 years ago when a team like the Calgary Flames had some of the best talent in all hockey. The Edmonton Oilers were a dynasty, and they had both of them had to be broken up because they couldn't afford the players, and most players want to play in the U.S. And what's going to happen with this new bargain agreement is if you play in a no tax state, we're talking Florida, we're talking Texas, you're talking Nashville, you're talking Seattle, just to name a few. If you're playing in those states in the free agent class of 2027, players are going to play want to good players are going to want to go play for you. If you're the Canadian teams like Edmonton and Winnipeg is fine. They got more money than God. The owner is the richest man in Canada. Um, Montreal's gonna have a problem. Toronto has more money than God. So there's only two teams who are gonna survive this. Make it three. Or Toronto, Winnipeg, Vancouver, and Calgary will survive the new rules. I'm gonna tell you why Calgary first. Because unlike Edmonton, Calgary has no stars. But they have a great group of kids coming up exactly a year from now. And they're going to let them get their feet wet into the NHL. And they'll have enough cap space to pay these kids when it's time for their second contract. They'll have plenty of cap space. That's the smart way of doing it. That's what Winnipeg did. They drafted a bunch of good players in the 2010s, let them grow together, and look at Winnipeg now. Look at the Jets right now, best team in the league with Washington. And I think they're going to play soon. I'll check it out. But the point I'm making is that if you're a team in Florida, Like, let me name the teams. You're Tampa, you're the Panthers, you're the Nashville Predators, you're the Seattle Kraken, you're the Dallas Stars. Your chances are looking very good to stack up when the new bargaining agreement come up. And there's a lot of owners who do not like this. The owners who love this right now are the Chicago's. I think the Rangers, even though they like it, it's not the same with them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, losers will want to play for them because it's New York, the lifestyle. But wouldn't you rather pull a Matty Chuck and go down to Florida and lead your franchise to their first Stanley Cup and many more to come than be some flunky clown who, like a Terry Panarin, who's stealing money from the Rangers and they don't go anywhere? Florida beat them so badly, folks, in the opening. I think it was their second home game. The Panthers went to New York and the Rangers was talking nothing but smack. And Chris Drury lost it. And the Rangers are here is going to make another move before the deadline. You don't poke the Panther. And the Rangers did. Now the Rangers are just a bunch of wimps while the Panthers are flexing muscle and coasting to the playoffs. They'll be there when the bell rings. Okay? Don't worry about the Florida Panthers. They'll be there when the bell rings. All right? Teams are going to want to play for the no state tax, income tax states and teams. It's going to favor them. While if you're a team that, like Colorado did over the weekend on Friday night, they got rid of letting them because they're only going to pay three players: McCarr, um, um, McKinnon, and you could take another one. Those are the only guys going to be getting paid. So the Colorado Avalanche is ahead of the game. I think other teams better get ready and get worried. And like I said, Calgary's going to be, they're going to take the Winnipeg model and Dallas model, whereas they're only going to pay their own kids, which is very smart. Okay. Speaking of Canada and hockey, do you see the panic on Team Canada that Peter is going to rest? He's playing right now, but because the team he's playing for is paying his damn salary, but he's not going to play in this bullshit world tournament. And let me tell you right now, if there's no Russia in the tournament's a joke. Because both America, Czechia, Canada, one thing we all have in common, we don't like the Ruskies. Now, personally, I don't have a problem with the Russians, but in hockey, these people do. So, you don't have Russia in the tournament. The tournament is fraudulent. It's bullshit. But you see how they panicking up there? See, with us, and this is why America is not only taking over the NHL, they're bullguarding hockey too. Because there's a number of factors. One, unlike Canada, where they put their little kids at 5 and 6 years old into midget hockey, we don't put our players into hockey till they're 14, 15. Number two, which is the most important thing, okay? Most of our players come from rich families. Just like the NBA, the poor kid who grew up in the ghetto, they're not in the NBA no more. NBA don't want those guys. The NBA get upper middle class to former players, former players who are multimillionaire kids to play in the NBA now. They don't bother with the urban kids. It's made the league worse, by the way, because without the toughness of kids from the inner city, you get a bunch of rich, pampered pussies who all they do is shoot threes. The NBA just sucks ass. You know that? Just does. Just does. Um, Number three, unlike Canada And they're worried. I'm going to get deeper into this right now. Unlike Canada, if one of our superstars can't play, so what? We'll bring up we'll replace him with the next guy. We're that deep. And it's because, like I said, most of these guys are rich kids. They come from rich backgrounds. Now, if you're American, you know the reason why that is. Canadians will never understand it. In our country, it is so bitterly racist here in America that as long as we don't have too many black people of color at the camps, everybody's happy. And when you from the United States and you play hockey now, not 20, 30 years ago, now you're coming from a rich family, a rich background. They are building academies when these kids are 14, 15 to skate, to groom them for college and the NHL. That's how good the American uh, under 18 hockey program here in the States. Canada, you hear the Canadians now complaining about the price of skates and sticks and gloves. Well, uh, I got this from somebody, a video I saw 2 weeks ago. The guy was telling the truth. In Canada, most of the people got the money are Asians and Indians. And that's who you're going to see in Canada the next 10, 15 years, representing Canada in World Juniors and the Olympics. While us, we'll have our rich white suburban kids, millionaire kids, billionaire kids out there skating and doing the damn thing. I mean, you see how easily they won the World Juniors, and the World Juniors is going to be in the hockey hub of America, Middle America, Minneapolis, St. Paul, next winter. And believe me, you're going to see more USA flags than you ever seen before. Right now, I'll be bold enough to say this: Canada, nobody could touch us right now. Maybe Russia, because Russia could compete with us with goalie, which is most important. Canadians got no goalies. They're trying to get this guy Thompson on from the Capitals. They just gave him 5 years yesterday, 5 or 6 years, and I'm like, really? Let me just say it. I never thought I would say this about Team USA in any sport. I don't count the basketball because the pros play. And you had a bunch of bimbos on ESPN. And I'm glad Chris Russo checked them. They were celebrating, twerking, happy that Team USA won. And they was talking about the best Team USA ever had. That is a bunch of shit. These fucking losers that LeBron brings in, they can't even beat the '84 Olympic team. Are you out of your mind? Or the original Dream Team? And you know what the problem with these millennials are? Everything is about stats and facts, especially in baseball. And now they're bringing this shit to basketball. Let me say something to these white geeks right now, because that's who they are. White geeks from Harvard and fucking Yale. Let me tell you something right now. It's by the eye test. No pun intended. It is by the eye test. Can these guys play or not? I mean, I'm hearing all this bullshit about war and OPS. If the player's been in the league 10 years, please give me his numbers. And I can tell you if he's on his way to Cooperstown, on his way to Canton. I don't need none of these bullshit fucking geek ass stats that these fucking clowns uh, try to present. When I hear that bullshit, I just turn my TV to the next channel. There's a fucking bunch of nerds who got nothing else better to do in getting and stealing money. I remember the Dodgers used to employ some kid from UCLA riding on his bike with floppy hair, being the doofus that does all that bullshit. Okay, you got to be kidding me. And this is how sports is ran. You goddamn millennials. And I can give you a group right now, the dolphin communities like this, those dumbasses. You go by the eye test. Okay? What did I say Sunday night about Josh Allen? I said Josh played well, but when it came down to getting a half a yard 3 or 4 times, he couldn't do it. That's on him. And these white media trying to give this guy excuse, and I'm glad that the black former NFL players are saying, no, 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 he didn't get it done. And I think Buffalo's, let me say this right now. With the demise of the Dolphins about to happen with those clowns, uh, getting Vrabel and getting Aaron Glenn in that division, and McDaniel is clearly the worst coach in that division, bar none. I tell you, if you're a Jet fan right now, whew, do you draft a quarterback at 7 and just bring him along? Would you bring Donald back? Because that is word spreading like wildfire in New York. They'll eat crow for Donald. Oh, you just give Rodgers one more chance. Those are the three decisions the Jets have to. I'll tell you right now, Jets are good. They are clearly the most talented team in that division. It's not even close. It's not even close. The difference is they've been poorly ran by the dumbass owner. I don't know. No, 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 no. At least Woody has been to a couple of championship games under his ownership. Nobody is bad as fucking that idiot in Miami. Nobody. Nobody is as dumb. This idiot changed the uniform colors, tried to make it corporate. How the F did that work out? This guy's just a complete clown. And it's because of guys like idiots like Stephen Ross, guys like me, dog them all the time. And that waste of time Dolphin community. That bullshit. Okay? All right? I think Aaron Glenn and the Jets, they better make a decision about Rodgers right now. Don't give Glenn, don't give Rodgers no ultimatum. You ask him right now, are you gonna stay or are you gonna go? That's it. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. That's what you do there. Now I killed the hiring of Brian Schottenheimer the other day. I killed it on Sunday. But I'm gonna say something right now about Brian Schottenheimer. If you are a fan of playing uh, game managing football, you're gonna like Dallas this year. And I would predict Dallas would take the kid from Boise State with the 12th pick. And we will start our draft coverage on April 24th with the 11th pick on. If you see the teams picking in the top 10, you wouldn't want it either. We'll tell you where Hunter will go. We'll tell you where Shador will go. We'll talk about that. But the rest of those picks in the top 10, we're going to ignore them because all those teams suck ass. Okay. Morning, kid. What's up?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah. All right, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. So I see that you have hockey as a screensaver, but you kind of segued into football. Had some time.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
just
And
wanted to hop
congratulations.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
congratulations to your Buckeyes, by the
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
way. I was thinking about you. I didn't even, bro. I went to sleep early that night. I woke up at 5:30 that morning and saw Ohio State repeated because they was doing the Ohio State gear, get the championship gear.
Okay.
So what are they saying now about Ryan Day?
Yeah. So, obviously people are happy. Ultimately, they got what they thought that they put into the season. You had a lot of returning players who could have potentially entered the draft. They would have been like, it's not like they were Marvin Harrison grades to where they were like top five picks and they came back. But Denzel Ward, we thought he might have been a late first, early second coming into the season. I think he played himself into probably a second round pick or whatever, but he had a decent enough grade to be able to come back. I think that our two ends, our two 5-star ends, JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer, they both came back. They could have been, like day two players as well. They might have played themselves into a little bit of money, especially with that playoff run. But yeah, those on top of the key transfer additions with the Junkins and Caleb Downs, and then we had the previous year our right tackle, our left tackle Simmons, who looks like he might be a first rounder as well, and then the center from Alabama. So with all that we brought back with those major additions that we brought on, I feel like people kind of, you know, it would have been hard to get a championship with this team, especially when you have unlimited resources to buy, the best coordinating staff in the country. Ohio State had the highest assistant coach payroll in the country. They're paying two coordinators over 2 million a year. That's top end for coordinators, right? So
Yeah.
there's that. Larry Johnson, the D line coach, he's making 1 million. Brian Hartline's making 1 million. So he had the staff, and he ultimately executed with what the expectations were. But I think, well, the question is going into it now is just it was just so perfect in every sense of the word. You had
Yeah.
the key players you needed to come back, come back. You have the staff you wanted. But now it's like if you want to sustain dominance at this level, not just being like, oh, you're Ohio State, you're always there. You're probably not going to win it though. Like if you want to, because what they're envisioning now is like a Saban-esque run. And Ryan Day has his first test, and if that's going to be, the path that he's taking Ohio State on, with our defensive coordinator leaving to go to Penn State. I don't know if you heard about that, Mace.
I didn't hear about that, but I'm listening to
Yeah,
everything you're saying, man, because you know this much better than me. So
for
I'm
sure.
letting
So
you
it's
know.
like, when you think about a Saban, he had to replace his coordinators on a year in year out basis, and there was barely any drop in output. So Jim Knowles, he got paid 3.1 million to be the defensive coordinator at Penn State. That's huge, just because Penn State brought almost everybody back, and they were thought of being the consensus number one team heading into spring ball for 2025, 2026. So you lost arguably the best coordinator in the country. So we'll see how he adjusts from there. Just considering that everything had to be perfect, I wouldn't. I think it's reckless to assume anybody would be Saban, like be able to replicate things at the same level that he did for as long as he did it. But we'll see. I think that throughout the next 10 years or so, I think everybody would be disappointed if he doesn't win 2 to 3 more, and is always a contender.
Do you feel in your heart can they repeat?
Can they repeat?
Yes.
I bet against it, honestly.
Okay.
Um, honestly, I really like Penn State. I really like Penn State. They brought back their quarterback. They brought back their two running backs. They got two really good receivers out the portal. They brought a lot back on defense as well. So not only that, the boosters at Penn State, they're going all in. This run did the opposite of what some people thought that it would do. They weren't like, oh, Franklin can't win the big game. It's like we're right there. We just need a little push, right? So they went and they spent the most money on a coordinator ever in the history of college football, and Jim Knowles, poaching him away from Ohio State. Um, they're making all those moves. They're spending what they need to spend in NIL to get these transfers. So Penn State looks like the clear front runner. Obviously, you've got Oregon. We'll see how, but Ohio State and Oregon are in the same position to a certain extent, other than Dante Moore, the person who they brought in to sit behind Dylan Gable for a year, and he's going to take over next year. He actually started his freshman year at UCLA. So he has a lot more, like snaps and experience and things like that over who Ohio State brought in, Julian Sang. So, you got that. So Oregon is always going to be there. They're going to be pissed off. Phil Knight, he gives them an unlimited budget. And we still don't know what's going to happen with Michigan, right? This Ohio State team is more talented this year than it will be next year. And you couldn't beat Michigan, right? And that was the most lopsided in regards to a talent distribution between those two teams that you'll ever see for any time in the near future. They got the number one quarterback in the country for the high school class 2025, the number one overall player in the country. So he's going to come in, start, and it'll be an obvious upgrade at quarterback just given that. So you got that. And then, with the how the playoff is, you don't have to worry about who's just in your conference. You got to, Texas is bringing in Arch Manning. Georgia, they've had the number one recruiting class in the country for the past 3 years before Texas had it this year. Who knows what Alabama's going to do. They got the number two quarterback in the country for this recruiting class. So there's just so much, and he doesn't have necessarily much to lean on, Ryan Day, in regards to just being able to tough it out and having a championship DNA. It seemed like all of the stars needed to align for him to get this championship. So I'd honestly just bet against it.
Okay. So you bet against them?
It's
Repeat.
like Ohio State versus the field at this point. Yeah, I bet against them.
Yeah, you could say that. I give Oregon no shot to win. You want to know why?
Why's that?
Because they choke every year.
Oh, yeah, I feel that. Well, I mean, you could have said the same thing for Ryan Day until he went out and did it.
Yeah, but Ohio
You know.
State has a standard, though.
Um.
You understand what
So
I'm saying?
I
Ohio
hear what
State.
you're saying. We've
Yeah.
won 4 championships in 50 years. Um. So I mean, there's Ohio State. In all honesty, if you look at the history, Ohio State is the biggest loser in college football history. Meaning, obviously, the win percentage and everything like that is there, but we've came close so many times and lost so many times at the biggest stage. If we look at Tressel, right, he lost 2 years, got blown out by the SEC. We look at Ryan Day in 2019 and 2020. He lost to Clemson in the semifinal, lost to Alabama in the final, lost to Georgia in the semifinal. So that winning pedigree is not there until it's done, right? So,
Mhm.
and I really like Dan Lanning. Me personally, I know Ryan Day it was kind of a neat situation, and the template for the coach that you want to push your team into a dynasty is different. But I just like generally having that defensive coach, that defensive oriented coach to lead my franchise. So I think that when you have that, the lines are always a priority. Being tough, recruiting towards making sure you have dominant and competent O lines is prioritized, and I think that that's what you see with Oregon. They have a lot of good depth on their offensive line and defensive line
Yeah.
versus Ohio State. Offensive line is our worst position by far. If we had a just above average O line coach, I'd agree with everybody who's saying like this could potentially be the start of a dynastic run. But the thing is, our offensive line coach, who's our worst assistant coach, he was actually Ryan Day's best man in his wedding. So there's so much more rope there, and the offensive line will just have to tank, right? They'd have to give up like 30 pressures a game for Ryan Day to get rid of them. So that's the situation that's going on there. He'll make tough hires. He'll fire black coaches like crazy for no reason. But, the guy who actually is the issue on the staff, the issue that's keeping this staff from really being elite at every level isn't going anywhere, you know? But with Dan Lanning, he's recruiting great. He out recruited Ohio State this year, his first full year as a recruiter, as a head coach of a team. Their DB coach is a really good recruiter. Their D line coach is a really good recruiter. There's a synergy between that staff. So, you know, I think they would have. I think whoever won the Ohio State Oregon game would have ultimately won the championship. I think it was a little bit too premature, and I think that the teams in the field were a little bit too good for you to say that was a championship game. But I like Oregon against Texas just because they don't start as slow for as long, or they don't play that far down the competition, or have such a variance in their performance like Texas does. So I think that they have the top and the floor to be better than Texas this year. But we'll see. We'll see. Things can change drastically in this format.
You're right about that. Because I really is not as close to the college football like I should be. I never got into the Dion hype, but you're right
Mhm.
because nobody knows which team is gonna outbid the other teams for the best players in the portal. No one's gonna know that until they start talking about it. So I agree with you with that.
Another thing is it's just, and I agree with it to a certain extent, but it is just the wild, wild west right now. Uh, when you think about it, essentially, you're having a bidding competition for your players every year, no matter what happens, right? So
Yeah.
Jeremiah Smith was offered 5 million to go to Miami. So
Hmm.
Ohio State immediately on the heels of a national championship had to get an NIL package somewhat relating, somewhat close to that $5 million offer, and hope that their relationship was strong enough to keep Jeremiah Smith there. And then our third wide receiver this year, Carnell Tate, he was getting seven-figure offers as well to go to other schools. So those players who they kind of popped, and it's like, oh, I think he'll be good next year. You're going to have to pay him like he was that guy last year, or somebody else will, right? So
Yeah.
it's like free agency every year, right? You're
Yeah.
basically signing these kids to four-month contracts the course of the season, and then from there you have to up the ante. So yeah, I mean, it really, you really thought that this would help some middling teams, right? Like, so you thought it would help like the Indianas and the Nebraskas just because they'd be able to poach talent from like a group of five schools, lower power fives, power four schools. But now, immediately once that talent pops, they're going to Ohio State, or they're going to Michigan, they're going to Clemson, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot more parity, and there's a lot less consistency in regards to things. And that's just the culture. That's always been the culture of college football, right?
Yeah.
I remember, just because I'm kind of close to the UC program, uh, Luke Fickle left just like before our UC's bowl game, right? To take the
Yeah.
job at Wisconsin. So, all the relationships, all the reassuring that he did to parents that he wasn't going anywhere, all of that
Yeah.
went out because he got paid 2 more million to go to Wisconsin. All those relations. So it's an inherently two-faced situation. So, you know, that's something that you always have to think about.
Okay. Yeah. Because I know. Let me ask you this. Back in April, I'm going to your favorite sport. Back in April, I told
I'll say it might
everybody.
be college at this point, but
Okay.
college football. 'Cause, honestly, because I know, you know, the Lakers aren't going to win anything anytime soon,
They're
right?
playing well
But
though.
yeah,
They blew a 27-point lead last night. I choked them on that to start the show when I did the Lakers segment. They should have beaten Charlotte by 50. That's how much they had them down. But the Lakers played around and they barely hung up. But yeah, I'm not going to talk to you about the Lakers. Back in April, I said up here, and people thought I was crazy, that the Houston Rockets will win 55 games this year. In 4 days, my good man, no, 5 days, they swept Cleveland and they won in
what?
Boston last night.
Damn. Okay.
And the point of, are you surprised by that? About how good this team is? I know the reason why,
I
but
am. I am.
yeah, the reason why this team is
Because I.
good, though. Yeah, go ahead. You can go ahead, then I'll speak after
Oh
you.
yeah.
Go ahead.
All I was going to say is it's just a drastic turnaround in such a small amount of time. without the roster changing significantly. And honestly, I didn't take Udoka to be that good of a coach. Honestly, um, back in Boston, and I was wrong. Just because essentially whoever they put right there was inheriting, you know, a machine, right? In Boston, you had two top 20 players in their mid 20s. I think, Brad Stevens, obviously, he's an ambitious and smart GM. So, your team was going to be positioned to compete for years on end, and it was just inevitable that they were going to eventually break through. Um, and it didn't seem like they were doing anything complex or remarkable with the scheme or anything like that in Boston. But hey, he's galvanized these guys in Houston, and they're doing their thing.
Yeah, that and you just said Udoka. To me, what has happened in Houston is this: they go off to a rough start in 23-24. But what ended up happening? Remember, they won a 12-game winning streak, and I told everybody up here, these kids are finally bought in. And what you see now in Houston is a head coach putting his stamp on a very young basketball team. You see what happens, folks, when you hit on your draft picks?
Mhm. What's
Everybody,
up with the my bad?
yeah,
Sorry.
no, go ahead.
So what's up with that third pick, the white dude?
I was about to get
What's
there.
he doing?
I was
Okay.
nothing. I was about to go there. Houston is so talented, folks. The third pick of the draft don't even get off the bench. And this young boy is pretty damn good. And he don't even get off the bench. Didn't they draft a big guy a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I
Not
think that's
a power forward type.
I'm not sure.
I forgot his name. That kid don't get off the bench.
Oh, Jabari Smith?
No, he plays.
Okay.
They drafted another big kid. He don't even get off the bench.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
yeah,
what's up
good.
with that? What's that white guy, the like center or whatever? You know who I'm talking
Sigan.
about?
That's his name. Sigan. I love him. Sigan. Only center in the
Yeah,
league that gives Jokic fits.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, great.
I think, yeah, I just think that for that center pick, for that
Yeah,
power forward pick they had a couple years ago, I don't think they expected those two to be playing as well as they are because they thought
yeah,
he could play minutes at the five if needed, and they would have just had that work between those two, and then Segun would have just gave him good minutes here and there.
yeah. I think it's amazing that what a good to me. There's only Popovich is out, but he's coming back soon. To me, there's only
Yeah.
really two good coaches in the league, and that's Spoelstra and Udoka. And let me throw in a third, the kid who's coaching in Boston right now.
Missoula.
He's a good coach.
Hmm.
He's a good
Okay.
coach. Uh, when I look at, for example, Denver, and my man Sean's gonna get mad at me. I have never bought into Mike Malone. Don't ask me why. I never did. I never did.
I mean, that's the same thing how I feel about like Andy Reid. Like you were gifted the greatest player, damn near. If he wins this next Super Bowl, in all honesty, we might need to wrap up that go conversation to kind of segue a little bit over there. But it's
I
just
was
like,
saying that Sunday night, man. I said if he wins this one, Tom Brady's an off the afterthought, bro.
yeah, yeah,
Because
because
Brady had his chances to win
he
three in a row. He never did it.
he's only like 27 years old or something. He's not even 30 yet.
Nope, he's not. He
So
just turned
but
29.
right. So he could win. He could win
He'll pass.
five before. That's insane. But
Yeah, I agree with you. You still don't buy Andy Reid?
no, I thought Andy. No, I definitely bought Andy Reid because he did have consistent success before Mahomes. But I just
Yeah.
don't like if he wins. Like he's going to win as many as maybe five, six, right? And that'll catapult him into GOAT conversations,
No, no,
right?
no. No, no. Everyone's saying it right now, and I agree with the mass. He wins three in a row. He's the GOAT because Brady's
Andy
never
Reid.
did. Oh,
No,
Andy
I'm talking about.
Reid.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about
he
Andy
has to
Reid.
pass
So
Belichick. Yeah, he has to get seven.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, even, but here's one thing. Even if he does get seven, though, I'm looking at because I mean, and obviously not anybody could just win six Super Bowls with Patrick Mahomes, right? But I feel like any like kind of clever offensive minded coach could have won a lot of rings with, um, like Sean Payton, I think could have won similarly than to how Andy Reid's winning
I
if
know
he
what you're
had
saying.
Patrick Mahomes.
If
So it's
Sean
like,
McVay had him, he'd be winning
right.
Super Bowl more. Yeah,
So I
I
don't
understand that.
agree with how he'll be catapulted just based off the fact they lucked in again the greatest player of all time.
Yeah, I understand that. Now, I don't have an argument with you with that. I don't
For
have an
sure.
argument with you. I want to get back to NBA, then we'll do some football, NFL. Let me ask this: this matchup Sunday night, and you see the headlines. Where are you, Giannis and Ja? Have you ever seen two superstar players fall off the map like these two?
Well,
And we're not
I mean,
talking talent, folks. We're talking about like the media totally ignore these two guys.
oh yeah, I was about to say, and I mean that's in all honesty, that's good for Ja, right? It's
I
good
agree.
that because I feel like the media will pick up anything with him if they had something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Malika
he's
Andrews.
really just been on his shit. He's really just been focused, and his team is quietly a top three seed in the West,
Yes, they
right?
are. And I think they'll pass Houston, believe it or not,
Right. So it's
because they
like,
have more experience. They'll finish the two seed in the West.
mhm. But then, yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, there's only so much media coverage. LeBron is the face of the NBA until he retires. Um, Curry, similar. He's in a similar fashion. So you got Jokic. So some people are just inevitably going to get left out, right? You got the whole Jimmy. I feel like if the Jimmy saga wasn't going on, he was just being a normal person and playing how he's supposed to. You probably will have a little bit more coverage for those two, but it is what it is.
Hey,
They're
I'm
doing.
gonna back up for a second. I don't put Jimmy Butler in the same world as these two guys right here. I think Jimmy
I
Butler is a
agree
nice player, but he's not a great player.
for sure,
But
and
I
I
will
agree with
say
that.
this
But
for
it's
Jimmy.
just
I will say this for Jimmy. He's a hell of a playoff player.
100%. Yeah, and my thing is like I agree with that. I don't think he's as good of a player as either one of them, but just him being a diva right now is getting a lot of media coverage. Is where I was going with that.
Yeah,
Um,
but the media likes Jimmy, believe it or not.
oh yeah, 100%.
They
The
like him.
whole he's not. I feel like Dame is obviously a way better player than Jimmy Butler as well, but he doesn't get the media coverage just because he does what he needs to do. He clocks in, clocks
And
out.
Dame is old now. Let's be real. He's up there now.
He is, but I'm still saying, like when you think of a player, right, who
Hmm.
is just who's they're comparable, if not one being better than the other, but one doesn't get the media attention. It's just because he just does what he needs to do. He doesn't go gothic for picture day. You know what I'm saying? He's not trying
Yeah,
to
I know what you said. I know
fuck
what
all
you
the
said.
Latinas in Miami. You know what I'm saying? Like he clocks in, he clocks out. He never did anything weird with his hair. He's had the same haircut for the past 13 years. You know, he just does what he does for the past 13 years.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Let me ask you this, and then we'll get back to the NFL because he's a NBA savant, folks. I gotta pick his brain. Are you surprised? And we talked about this last time he was up here. Are you surprised Cleveland has such a big lead in the East?
Um, I wouldn't say no because I think that Mobley taking a step was something that could have it was a possibility greater than zero that would happen.
Hmm.
I think everybody's bought in, right? And I think that they understand that they're not as talented top end as some of the other teams in their conference.
I
So
totally
they really
agree.
need a max, right? So I feel like they really need to maximize any advantage that they think that they can get when they can get it. So avoiding Boston for, an extra series or something, so they can be able to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and hopefully Boston's not healthy, right? Something like that, right? I think that they
Yeah.
feel pretty confident against the Bucks, right? They got a couple. Giannis does not play as good in the playoffs as he does in the regular season. I feel like they have a couple people with the body, the profile to be able to contain Giannis, right? So that's not the biggest concern. Their biggest concern are the Knicks and the Celtics. So just avoiding those teams as long as they can. Um,
I'll give you one more. Miami. Now I'm gonna tell you why. They'll get something good to replace Jimmy. But you know what's nice about the Heat now? Kelly O'Neal is balling. And now the Heat players are in their right positions. Um, Bam is at the power forward. They'll replace Jimmy with a three. And
so
you got
they're going to be getting pennies on the dollar for Jimmy Butler.
I don't think they care. I think as long as they get a serviceable swing shooting guard small forward, they'll take it. I'm serious.
That's
Wherever
that's
Jimmy goes
fine, but
to.
at that point, I don't think that they have the top end talent to beat the Cavs, the top end talent, depth, or synergy.
Well, let me ask you this, honestly.
Yeah,
From me talking to you, by now you should pick up. I'm into coaching.
right.
You don't think Spoelstra can outcoach? And I love Atkinson. I do. I think
I'm
that
really big
idiot
on
Durant.
Atkinson. He was really
Yeah,
good with the Jazz.
yeah. Durant did him dirty when he came to Brooklyn a few years ago.
Yeah,
Um, who you think wins that coaching matchup? Atkinson or Spoelstra?
yeah. So I think coaching. So obviously, I think that Spoelstra is a little bit better of a coach, but I think that matters a lot more when talent is comparable. Talent, things are comparable in regards to team makeup. I don't think that would be the case here. I
By the
think
way,
Cleveland.
JJ Redick is doing a hell of a job with the Lakers.
Yeah, and I know I was gonna say something when you said there are only like three good coaches. But I'm like, I'll let it slide because
JJ got
essentially
to
what
prove
they're
it
doing
though.
now is like kind of listening to LeBron. That's what
Yeah,
I think.
JJ got to prove it though.
Yeah, because he's playing. Because I
Yeah,
remember like early on in the season, especially after they had that little slip where they were losing like 3-4 games in a row. People
yeah.
started comparing Reddick's record to Ham's the first like 42 games. They stopped that because he's like 10 games better than him at this point.
Have you ever been to Los Angeles before?
I think when I was like younger, a lot younger.
The reason why I say that too, because I used to live on the West Coast. You
Mm.
would love Los Angeles because it's all Lakers out there. Everything, all Lakers out
I don't even like when LeBron leaves. I'm probably not going to follow the Lakers
there. Of
anymore.
course, it's not.
So not only that, like I know it's just expensive out there. They're saying it's like $16 for a carton of eggs. I'm cool with my $6 for a 24 pack out here, right? So
Yeah,
yeah, but shout out to LA though. I
it's
mean,
like it's like
it's
it's like
always
me.
warm. It's a little warmer
Oh,
now
it's
than
warm.
normal, but
It's always
yeah,
warm in LA. Yeah, because
it's super
me,
warm now. All right.
once Tim Duncan left the NBA, I checked out.
Mm,
I
yeah,
wasn't a Spurs fan. I was just a huge Tim Duncan fan.
yeah,
I
and I
mean, to
feel like
me, because you're a young guy, to me, once that era left the NBA is gone down. And that's nothing against LeBron and Curry. What it really is, to tell you the truth, those two didn't have competition to compete with their respective teams.
who
Would
didn't?
you agree with that?
LeBron and Curry?
Yeah. Like who can
No.
beat the Lakers? Who can beat the Cavs in the East and the Warriors in the West back then?
So if KD wasn't so much of a little girl,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You can say bitch, yeah.
Yeah, the Thunder could have beat the Lake. That would have been a back and forth type of dynamic for years to come, just because their primes are so interlocked, right? In
Yeah,
regards to ages, like they're all like 35. So
yeah.
from
I know what you mean.
2017 to 2022, it would have been back and forth, in my
Are
opinion.
you are you surprised? I'll get to Harden in a second. 'Cause I know you're a James Harden fan.
Yeah.
Are you surprised how well Westbrook has played with Jokic?
No, I wouldn't say I'm surprised just because they're two pretty high IQ players, good facilitators, and I don't think that they need to occupy the same areas on the court to be effective. Russell Westbrook's kind of embrace his role of being like a low usage player, meaning the offense isn't necessarily always ran through him, just because
Mm-hmm.
that's not where he's at in his career at this point. And he's
Mm-hmm.
not that good of a decision maker to have him being the primary decision maker, play in, play out for a significant amount of possessions. So, with him being a cutter and then him having the vision and the instincts in basketball to be able to like, okay, so I got this pass off of that backdoor cut that I got from Jokic. They're
Mm-hmm.
collapsing from where, right? So just stuff like that, just like point guard, we're penetrating. We have a lot better passer in that dunker spot than you normally do, right?
Let me go back to the Lakers for a second. Now that idiot who's the general manager. What's this idiot Rob Pelinka?
Palinka, yeah,
He has an obsession with Trey Young. Okay, you know that. I know that.
yeah.
Who would you want July 1st of this year? Trey Young in a trade or the kid up in Sacramento who's unrestricted? Who you think fits the Lakers
I
better?
like Fox. Fox is a
Okay,
better
that's
player.
why I would agree with that. I would go either guy because I do like Trey,
Yeah,
but I'd rather go with Fox.
Fox is a better player, and um, when you think about the identity the Lakers are trying to establish, trading D'Lo for a low usage, good defending wing,
Yeah.
that's kind of where they're trying to get, and they're really good defensively at this point. I think Austin Reeves is, he's obviously a below average defender. Same with LeBron,
Yeah.
but yeah, but generally they're a really good defensive team, and I'd like their third star to be able to, complement their new formed identity. That's why they're looking to get rid of Rui Hachimura.
By the way, folks, next Wednesday night we're gonna have a colossal game up here. Boston's at Cleveland for the first time. That's next
Mm,
Wednesday night, folks.
yeah,
So because one thing about the NBA and people can't understand why I dog it so much. There's only eight good teams. There's only eight good teams.
I don't know about I don't know about that. But name them.
So
Let's name them
you
out.
name them. Okay, let me do the East first. Okay,
Okay.
Cleveland, Boston, Knicks, and Milwaukee or the Heat. I
So why
think.
wouldn't you name both of them?
Why do I name both of them?
I said, why don't you name both of them instead of being either or? Like if they're
Because
floating
I
around
don't
decent.
because I don't trust the Bucks with the failures they had in the playoffs ever since they got the chip 4 years.
Well, I agree. They might not be a championship, a surefire championship contender, but that's a different question than if they're a good team or not.
I don't think they're a good team at all.
Okay.
You
And I
know why I
agree.
say
I
that?
guess I kind of agree just because they're
You
all
know why I say
underperforming.
that?
They don't work
Number
together.
one, both of their stars are old. Number two, Middleton is on one leg. Okay? And number three, me and you just talking. We're not arguing on anything, folks. And number three, um, I don't trust Doc Rivers in any situation.
Yeah.
Well, in the West, folks, you got OKC, Houston, Memphis, Denver, and the Lakers and Clippers are beginning to surge. After that, it's nothing.
So you're at 10 now, even if we don't include the Bucks.
No, I don't. No,
Okay.
the
So
Bucks to me. This is how low the Bucks have sunk. They got beat the Heat or the Pacers in the first round.
mhm.
Think about what I just said. They have to get out of the first round. That's how low they've sunk now.
Yeah.
I know Memphis is getting out of the first round. Matter of fact, it wouldn't surprise me if Memphis wins the West. It wouldn't surprise me. They can match up with OKC
Yeah. I bet against it, but I wouldn't be surprised either.
because I'll tell you right now, Both of those point guards will wear each other out.
Yeah,
And that could be Hilligis's worst nightmare going up against John Morant for 7 games. And I can easily see Los Angeles folks beating Houston in the first round. I can see that.
yeah. So, and I think that they can beat anybody but Denver in the West.
I think they'll have a problem with Memphis too. Ja used to whip that ass. They're gonna have a problem with
The
Memphis.
last time they played the Memphis, what happened?
Oh, I don't know. You gotta tell
They
me.
won, and it was in 2022 in the playoffs.
Damn, that's how far, folks. John Moran is falling off. Wow.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, like I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like there's a lot of good, you know.
I do too.
So
I think
yeah,
because I was gonna get to Harden with you because I have not seen the Clippers, but I look at the record and they're playing well.
yep. And Kawhi just came back too. So
It's finally after fucking.
yeah,
I don't want to get into him because
yeah,
as much as
yeah.
I
We're good
like
on
the
Kawhi.
player, Kawhi is like Jimmy
Yeah.
Butler. They play when
Uh,
they want to play.
yeah, I agree. He's Jimmy just without the deepness, but the unavailability and stuff like that is still there.
Yeah, LeBron's the same way, folks. When LeBron feels like, yeah, I need a couple of days off. Once
LeBron, don't do that. LeBron is not like that.
LeBron takes off his sneakers, folks, he's done. Once he takes off his sneakers, folks, winning or losing, he's done. But what I mean by LeBron is there are times LeBron gets worn out. Let's be honest. He's not like the other two clowns. Those other two, Butler, and you could throw in the King. And it's a shame that what's our boy who the Clippers got rid of? What's his name again?
Paul George.
All right. Paul George, and this is sad. As good as he is as an NBA player, he is only now known as a podcaster.
Yeah,
Why? He is the king of load management.
yeah.
See, when old boy gets hurt, he's hurt. When Kawhi's knees are hurt, folks, he's hurt. This clown, Paul George, doesn't say much when you're known for podcasting than you are as an NBA player. That's how low he's sunken. And I feel bad for my boy Tyrese Maxey. You like Maxey as a player?
I do. Yeah, I like Maxey as a player.
Yeah, I love Maxey. Man. It's a shame that that idiot. Uh, is M.B playing, by the way?
I don't know. They're out of contention. So
Yeah, I see. I put money on the Lakers tonight. I think the Lakers are gonna.
they play again tonight.
Yeah, they play the Sixers tonight. Yeah, in Philly. I
Oh,
love the
okay.
Lakers tonight. I took the 4 points.
Yeah.
I
So,
got LeBron
question for
scoring.
you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
I love
I'm
this
seeing a
game.
lot of stuff. A lot of people putting like Jokic in top 15 to 12 ish spot all time. Right. What?
I'll be glad to talk about this with you.
So,
Number
what's your?
one, what's my
Go ahead.
opinion? I'm gonna go there with you.
Because I was going to go to like specific spot matches that I have issues with. But yeah, just give your general rundown on it.
I think he's the best player in the 21st century. I do, and it's not because of rings. He does something that nobody else has done in the NBA in years. When he steps on the court, he totally dominates. And when you
So
got players like
you think he's
LeBron,
better than LeBron is what you're saying.
do I think he's better than LeBron? Yeah.
You're saying all time he's better than LeBron.
He's on his way. This is how I look at Jokic. Okay. You got, I don't even count Curry no more. He's old. You got LeBron, you got KD. Okay. Out of both of their mouths, and they're the two best players of this generation. They both say Jokic is the best player.
Yeah, they're saying
Okay.
he's the best player when they're 40.
I think Jokic right now, man, he should be on his way to his fifth MVP in a row. He gets one
You-
more chip. How can anyone argue for him? Now, when I
But
look at
all
LeBron, when
right,
I look
hold
at,
up. Was that rhetorical? Was that rhetorical or are we talking?
Yo, we talking.
Okay.
What I'm gonna
So
say about James is this, and I'll put KD in this too. All right, LeBron, and this hurts LeBron more than anything else, folks. And this is, I think, me and you never talked about this. I talked about this with Auntie. Curry really damaged his legacy.
oh, 100%. Yeah. Not Curry. I said KD did.
You could say that. No one saw the Warriors coming, folks. Nobody.
I saw him coming, but
10 years ago, I'm sitting in a
I,
dialysis
I
chair.
remember in like fifth grade, like 20,
Yeah, you're a young
like
girl.
20, like oh 08,
2011,
like oh
2012,
09, oh 11, whenever that was. Like
2012,
back when
2012.
Curry was losing to, the Clippers and the Spurs and stuff like that. I said Curry was a top five point guard back then. So I saw it coming. Back when
I
they
was
had David Lee. I don't know how many
I
people know
remember
about
David
David
Lee.
Lee and
He was
Jared
the
Jack.
Knicks. Yeah, they had a great deep team then.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget this, folks. I'm sitting in a dialysis chair, and guys are talking sports, and brothers love the NBA, and they're talking about the finals, and they said, "Yeah, man, they gotta find a way. Kyrie gotta find a way to run Curry tired." I said, "What?" I said, "What's the NBA finals?" They said, "You don't know?" I said, "No." Cleveland and the Warriors, I swear to God, fell out of my chair. I knew Cleveland was going to be in the finals. The Warriors, folks, NBA fans right about one thing. KD. They can say, because I know the Warrior fans, the Warrior people don't like KD. KD gave them two automatic chips. Am I right, young man?
100%.
Yeah.
So,
That was
and my
such
thing
an
is like,
unfair advantage for LeBron.
yeah, because I think we're having a way different conversation if Katie didn't come.
If he would stayed in
Just
OKC.
yeah, and I think if they would have just made like marginal improvements that next year,
Yeah.
the Warriors, like I don't know, they just got a better wing that like maybe they made the Andrew Wiggins move a little earlier instead of Harrison Barnes. I think
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland still beats them because what they got with Reddick, they got a good like they were a really good team in 2017, 2018, but you just can't compete with that firepower. So I think that you're looking at LeBron with like a 6-3 record or so in the
I would
finals.
agree with that. I would agree. I will say
six and
this for
three,
LeBron.
7-3, and then from there, those longevity, like damn, he was a lot more efficient. Damn, players were better. Damn, his final competition was better. So you have a lot more just like linear cases. Like you can't say he's not a winner, right?
No, 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 no way.
No,
LeBron was
no, I'm
all
just
time great.
no, I'm just saying the case in that hypothetical situation. So it's like you can't say he's not a winner, and then he was consistently great. It's a lot more linear argument than it is now. It's like you got to be like, oh, you got to go to like the upper management and stuff to talk to make that case. And then I just don't think that the consensus around who's the greatest player of all time will change, or who's better between Jordan and LeBron will change. So it's such
I'm
a
not watching this.
obscure, like not like you know
I should
he's
wear my
6-0.
Lakers
That's
jersey
pure.
when I get my camera back. I should wear my cream jersey when I get my camera next week. I'll be back. People can see me. Hey, look.
I think
Uh,
Kareem has a
I
good
want
case
to
too, personally.
I want to say something about Brown real quick. If he can win one more, just one more, you will have to put him in the same class as Kareem, which is a hell of a class, and Magic
Mm.
Johnson. You have to do
Uh,
that.
well, so you're saying he's not in the same class as Magic Johnson right now? Well, I mean, you're from a different era, but
I'm from that era, yeah. That's why I know this stuff.
for sure.
But for LeBron, folks, in year 22 of his career, you can hate on him all you want, folks. I have fun with this young man because he's a huge LeBron fan. I'm gonna get to his girl in a second.
Who,
uh,
Andrew Reese?
no, I'm gonna get to Fly J Johnson in a
Oh,
second.
yeah, yeah. She's playing good.
Anyway, finish this with LeBron. You can all hate him all you want. LeBron, he gets one more chip, folks. He will be one of the five greats who ever touched the basketball, folks.
Okay, this is a absurd. That's absurd, Mace.
Why is that absurd? Absurd.
That you're saying that he's not top five right now.
I think
Like
he's.
that's not top five
Are
is
you gonna
insane.
put him? No, no, hold on. You're gonna put him over Kareem, Magic, Jordan, Russell, and Havlicek?
Have Havlicek. Yeah, yeah. So
And
definitely. So
let me say this.
honestly, here, real quick. Let me say. So
Yeah,
in all honesty, I'm not mad. I'd say he's comfortably top three, and I don't even necessarily push for that he's the greatest of all time, just because it's a conversation that I don't feel like having
yeah. You don't want to.
anymore.
You ain't have it with me anyway. I'm not
Uh,
gonna go there. So
yeah, just in general, I'm not trying to have that conversation. Like I'll say my piece for why I think it is, and then if people disagree, it is what it is, because
no, I'm
there
not
is
gonna
no
argue with
absolute
you.
right with that. But
I'm
I
not
think
gonna
that
argue with
so I don't have an issue with people saying Kareem is the GOAT. I don't have people issues with people saying Kareem is second. So my issue is just when they have LeBron lower than third.
you.
So
Okay, I know
when
what
we
you're
go to
saying.
Bill Russell, what's up?
I know what you're saying.
So Magic, yeah, Magic inherited a Death Star for a team, right? Like imagine, like if you insert like LeBron for Magic,
Lakers
he
still
has
win
he,
for
ha,
the
he has
finals.
Bill Russell he has Bill Russell rings straight up.
Wow, wow.
So
But let me go.
and
Let
and
me
then
ask
for
you a question.
Bill Russell have to that doesn't even and I really respect Bill Russell
Yeah,
for everything that he did with the social justice and things like that. But he had like
yeah,
six so when he played, right, there were
yeah.
like 50 total players in the league. There were like 12 Hall of Famers. There were hold on. There were 12 Hall of Famers in the league, and Bill Russell had 8 of the 12 Hall of Famers in the league, right? So he had 40, he had like 15% of all Hall of Fame players on his team while he was playing, right?
Yeah.
So and then not only that, if you look at like the box scores and stuff like that, he was getting cooked by Chamberlain. He
Yeah,
wouldn't have
but
a ring if they were switched.
here's the problem. And Chamberlain has some Hall of Famers with him too. Here's the problem.
He didn't have as many.
In the big spot, Chamberlain never came through, except one time. And when he was with West, he never came through. When he was with West, that's why West is so great. He never
This is
came through.
not this is not tennis. All right. So it's like if you're going up against a team with like seven, like more than one Hall of Famer, more so like if so for instance, right?
Yeah,
If your team has 2 Hall of Famers and the other team has 4, I don't want to hear anything about you not pulling through. There
all
was too much of a talent mismatch
right.
for
So
you to
let me ask you
overcome
this.
in a team-oriented game.
Let me
Huh?
go here. And this is where I had lost all respect for Will Chamberlain. And I'm sorry I did that at the time of my life. I was 7 years old, and I asked my dad, "Can I see Lakers Bucks Western Conference Final?" Okay. Remember, West, Elgin Baylor, Happy Harrison, and Goodrich. That's four Hall of Famers against Kareem and an old Oscar Robertson. Okay, you talk about Hall of Famers. The Lakers have four of them on the court in their prime. How come Kareem not only embarrassed them, humiliated them, dominated them, swept them? And that was a '69 when Laker team.
Fair enough. I don't have Will over Kareem,
No, no, I'm
and
just
I
asking because you talking about him with Boston. That's fine. How come he couldn't beat Kareem?
so even so, right? Like, so how
Yeah.
old was he at that point?
Chamberlain was up there. I mean, Alfred
That's
was like,
that's another thing, right?
okay,
So he's older, right? Kareem was obviously the better player in every way at that point, right?
yeah,
He had
second
already
year.
won an MVP. You said it was his second year in the league, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
Kareem.
so the old star lost to the young MVP championship winner,
I can
right?
understand because years later I looked at it that way, and I
Right,
ain't no
like so,
people dogging Chamberlain like they be doing.
Right. So it's like if LeBron loses to Wemby right now, or something like that, right?
Yeah,
Obviously, I think that LeBron's playing at a higher level at this point in his career than Chamberlain was at that point. But I
of
mean,
course,
even still though.
of
So,
course.
but even still though, it's like it's a coordination of a changing of the guard within the league. It's kind of what happened there, and that's
You
how
make
I'd
an
frame it.
excellent point. You make an excellent, excellent point right there. I'm gonna leave you with this. A lot of historians do not put Kobe Bryant in his top 10, in their top 10.
100%. Me neither.
All right, so you gave me your answer.
Do you?
What do you? No, I don't either.
Okay.
Why do you? How do you look at Kobe Bryant's career?
I think that he was a great player. He was
Hmm.
a high volume scorer. Um, that ultimately was not a winner in the same way that he was perceived. Like we have a lot of media going into him being, this unreal competitor, but that doesn't actually hold water when you look at the course of his career and how he played and the results that he lifted his team through tumultuous times and what he looked to do during those tumultuous times.
I agree with that, and something that I say all the time, which surprises people. Kobe Bryant, John Havlicek, the only two players in the history of the NBA that stayed with their teams when they rebuilt it and won two more championships after that.
hmm But that's the thing. Did Kobe want to stay?
Not really wanted to go to Chicago, but he I guess he stayed for family reasons in Los
Did, did
Angeles.
Kobe did Kobe ask for a trade when they missed the playoffs the third time in a row?
Yes, he did to Chicago.
Fair enough. Yep.
No, 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 that's
So
fair. I'm not going to argue with
no,
you with
yeah,
that. You're making
yeah,
excellent
yeah.
point.
We agree. We agree on Kobe.
Yeah, yeah. I just think that the Kobe sycophants got to
You know,
understand something. What kills Kobe Bryant, folks, is his attitude towards human beings.
not
And
yeah.
the,
It's
and the
that. It's like
media
that.
keeps that, and the media keeps that in the back of their heads
Yeah.
because
Not
they're the
only that, it's like
ones.
they go to like little Chuck Norris stories about his work ethic, right?
Yeah,
Rather than like being like, oh, this is what happened on the court throughout his career. These are how he interacted with people, right? He was
yeah.
so tough towards all of the scrubs on his team,
Sure was.
similar to Jordan. But what happened when Karl Malone said he was going to fuck his wife?
Mm-hmm.
What
That
did he do?
nothing.
Right? He was taking it the moral route. We got to all get along. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, he
What
was
you're
a good
saying is,
competitor. He was all that. But what's up?
what you're saying is Kobe's full of shit. That's what you
Right.
said.
And then he did not persevere through anything. He wanted a trade. Right.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron, who was given less by his front office, he took them to higher heights, right? So when we talk about analyzing people in situations of without versus with,
Mm-hmm.
in every way, right? Like you just there are players who topple Kobe, and then we look at players where it's a more niche argument, right? Like I think like
Mm-hmm.
there's a decent argument there to be had between Kobe and Hakeem. I have Hakeem over Kobe. I don't know about you.
Wow. We have to have
Do,
another conversation about that.
whoa, you what?
Yeah,
Do you
we
not
have
have
to have
Hakeem top 10? Hold up. Is Hakeem not top 10 to you?
no.
Whoa.
Let me tell you.
I forget
Okay.
you got some super old guys in your top 10 though, but yeah.
You know me. I'll give
You
you the
got
top five
you
centers of
got
all
George
time.
Washington and Jim Crow
No,
in
no,
there. Like
I'm gonna give you legitimate centers as the top five of all time. Russell, Kareem. Oh, who did I have third? I had a King fourth. Who did the hell
okay.
did I have third? It wasn't
Was it
Shaq. I
Shaq?
forgot. No.
You
Who did
got
I
you got
have
Hakeem
third?
above Shaq.
Yes.
Hold
Yes.
on, hold on. All right, so I want to
He
hear
didn't
your top
challenge
10
Shaq
then
in the
because
he
so
didn't challenge
basically you're
Shaq in
saying
the
that
finals.
you're saying that Hakeem and Shaq aren't top 10.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I really be interested to hear your top 10.
What players of all time?
Yeah.
I gotta do some deep thinking. You're gonna have to pull up Sunday night for that one. When I
All
do the
right.
when I do the Bucks and I'll have it for you then. But top 10 of all time, I'm gonna go easily Kareem and Magic, Jordan. Uh, who I put forth? Uh,
You said something
I,
about Havlicek.
Havlicek is in my top 10 easy. 8 rings speaks a lot. Uh, who else? Duncan for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
Duncan's in my
you
top
got you
five.
got you got you got to put LeBron there too
Yeah,
because I'm not putting Curry there. That's for damn sure.
he's around there though.
I'm not putting Curry. I'm not putting KD there. No,
Yeah,
no, I'm not.
he's they're around there though.
Nah, not even close for me, bro. Who else?
Yeah,
I got Jordan, right?
yeah, you
Uh,
said him.
who else? Damn. Uh, who? Let me see. Isaiah definitely
Isaiah top 10.
got to.
That's
What he
crazy work. That's
like? He.
crazy work.
Who else?
That's crazy work.
It's strange. Definitely Jerry West. He's the logo. Okay. You know what? I have it for you
Yeah,
Sunday night. How's that? But I'm
yeah,
gonna end it with one more with you. Okay. I'm gonna go back to Kobe Bryant for a second.
yeah.
Did you want Kobe badly in '09?
You're talking about the Cavs
Oh,
versus the Lakers.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that would have been the most
That's what
storybook thing for the league
it
at that
was.
point.
That would have
But
been
I'm glad it
great.
didn't happen just because LeBron didn't have the team, and then we never hear the end of it in regards to who's better between us two, and they'd be basing it off that small sample size and time.
Was
So
the Miami Heat a disappointment to you when
the
Bron was there?
Miami,
Yeah, the Heat
uh,
was there a disappointment to you?
that whole time,
Yeah, it was
no,
4 years he was
I
there.
wouldn't say so. I
Wow.
wouldn't say so. Um, I'd
I
say
really
that
thought they were
first year,
going to win. I really thought they was going to win. Well, that's a long story. I keep forgetting what happened in 2013, so I'm gonna leave that alone.
they won the game.
I'm gonna leave Game Six alone.
Well, I mean, shit, it happens, right? Like
No, it's not against
Kobe.
LeBron. I hold it against Popovich for his dumbass way of thinking. This has nothing to do with James. It has to do with Popovich.
Um,
How the
it
hell
is
you
what
gonna have Duncan and Tony Parker on the court? Really?
it is. It is what it is, right? My thing is like,
It is what it is. But it's more on the Spurs than the Heat. Let me put it to you that way.
yeah. But I mean,
And
LeBron put up a 32-point triple double in that
it
game. He
had
put
nothing
up
to do
like
with him.
37. Hmm.
I'm gonna tell you what it was. And this is my theory, and I will take this to my grave. Adam Silver got the phone call from that David Stern. And David Stern said, you cannot let the Spurs tie the Bulls at 6-0. You can't do it. You can't let it happen. And he killed two birds with one stone by giving LeBron another title. And again, this has nothing to do with LeBron. This has to do with that cocksucker Michael Jordan and those goddamn Bull teams who I cannot stand in the 1990s. This has
Yeah.
nothing to do with LeBron James. This has to do with Greg Popovich and how you let Tim Duncan go 5-1. Man, let me tell you something right now, young man. If Duncan would have won six, they would have won seven. Because they would have been motivated to pass the Bulls. That tells you
Hmm.
how much I hated the Bulls and how much I can't stand Jordan, young man. I'm serious about this.
I hear that. My thing is,
Yeah, go ahead.
no, it's all good. I just think that Jordan's teammates had a lot of good performances that are just left to the wasteland of history just to purport narratives. So it's all good though. I mean, I'm
I'm
not.
laughing because I'm enjoying this. Go ahead, keep talking.
But yeah, it's just like I'm not at that point in my life where I'm arguing with people about that.
Of course.
I think yeah, people are really solidified in. their rationale for why someone's better than the other, right? I think
I
it's
agree.
like similar to people who are like really staunch about on the two sides of like the racism debate, right? It's like
Hmm.
you got the statistics, right? You got the 13% population makeup and the 50 or so percent of murders, right? And that's
Hmm.
it, right? And then when
Hmm.
you think of the Jordan people, it's just like 6-0, 6-0, 6-0. And then you got the other people who are like, oh, there's context to that. He had a better team, all that, etc. Right?
Hmm.
And then for when you go back to that, the 60 to 50%, it's like, oh, there's systemic racism. They're over policed. They're more harshly sentenced. Um, you know, things like that. You got those type of arguments as to why the numbers are the numbers, right? And then at a certain point, some people will listen to that, and then you try to come to a common ground, acknowledging all factors or not,
Hmm.
right? And you're
Yeah.
not you're not going to, if there's some people who are really staunch in this is the increase in violence between a certain demographic is because um they're slower, they just have a higher propensity for crime. They're not willing to hear anything else, right? So they go
Hmm.
into a pseudoscience to kind of rationalize that mindset rather than objectively digging to find the truth of what's really going on, right?
Exactly. I agree.
So that's where I'm at with the Jordan debate. There are a lot of people who are just, it is what it is. He didn't win at the same rate as Jordan winning because he's just not as good of a player. We're going to take all context out the window, right? And there are some people who dig a little deeper when we're like, hey, if we were to put both people in the same situations, what do you think would have happened, and come to a different result? So that's kind of where I'm at with it. And, you're really going to have to just break down how people think to really even get close to each side really wanting to hear each other out and then coming
Hmm.
to an objective opinion based on facts.
I agree with you. Excellent, excellent point. And on that, you have a good week, young man. I'll see you Sunday
Hold up,
night.
real quick. I just had something else I wanted to
Say what you
talk
want
with
to
you
say. Go
about.
ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't hear you mention Jokic in your top five or in your
Because
top 10, but you're
he has
saying,
to win. He has to win another chip.
okay.
I'm not putting in those guys who won like LeBron and these guys who won multiple chips. That's not
Hmm.
fair to them. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, to a certain extent. So, where's your opinion between him and KG? Because I personally get offended when I hear people put Jokic ahead of KG.
He has to win one more
Yeah, because there are
because
two
he has the
sides to the
multiple.
ball.
Yeah, he's won multiple MVPs. And
Uh huh.
KG is great, and I'm a big KG guy, so that was my boy
Same.
back in the days. But to be with KG or the past KG has to get another chip. Jokic just got to get another chip. That's the bottom line for him. He gets one, folks. He's the best center of the millennium, but he ain't the be in the top 10. No, he has to win multiple. One more, and he'll get the love from me.
Yeah. In
And
my
I love
opinion, it's
Jokic,
like
but he has to win.
my thing is like I also think that we have to take into account it's a pretty shitty center league right now, right?
Yeah,
How
I would
many
agree.
good centers do you have? Right? Like you got
You're right.
Jokic, you got Embiid, who doesn't really, he's a diva of a center.
Mm-hmm.
You've got
That's getting crazy.
Cat, right? You got Carl Anthony Towns. Who are you talking about? Jared Allen?
Yeah, Jared Allen I like a
I,
lot.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't say like he's an all right center. He's not like a great center though. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
he's not a great
We're
center,
talking
but he
about like a
makes the
high
impact.
use
He makes
for
the impact.
sure, but that's not what we're talking about, right? There are high impact players, so you wouldn't be like they're generational. They're generation
Oh
defining
no,
players at
no.
their
There's only
position.
one in
Yeah,
the there's only one in the NBA right now, and that's Jokic.
I'd say I'd say him, Cat,
Nah,
um,
nah,
Cat, Embiid.
nah.
What the Sabonis a center? I'm just trying to name people, right? Because I mean, when you
What's
think of the '80s, right?
those guys are not in Jokic's league.
Sure, and I'd agree with that. But what I'm saying is like when you think of like the '80s, you think of all the centers that define the '80s. Not all of them are on the same level,
I
right?
would agree.
But you use some of them to define the era. You use more than just the best one to define the era,
Yeah, I
right?
agree. I agree.
So like you had Ewing, and then I don't know who else did you have? Would you put Lambert there? Bill Lambert.
No, I put Lambeer more as a power forward.
Okay,
No, no, no,
so
no,
I
no, no, no.
was
You can put him as a center. Oh,
yeah,
Lambert was damn good, but he's not an all time great.
generation defining. Okay,
No, he's not.
gotcha.
I
So
agree
who
with
would
that.
you have for the '80s?
From the '80s,
Yeah,
Kareem Parrish. Who else was back then? It was Kareem Parrish, Lambeer. Um,
okay, so you would have Lambert.
in the '80s, you're just talking the '80s.
Yeah,
Lambeer. Who else? I gotta think.
I
Uh,
mean Hakeem was drafted in '84,
you
so
can
I think
put
he's
Hakeem
probably
there.
doing
Yeah, because I'm gonna tell you something. I say this all the time, and the Jordan fan stays quiet. Between 1991 and 1996, in my opinion, Akeem Olajuwon was the best player in the NBA.
Hmm,
And he was
okay.
robbed in '93 for the MVP by Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
Look at the numbers, and you're gonna be like, "Damn, Mason's right." See,
No, I'm familiar.
I'm a big
That's
Olajuwon fan. So,
mhm. I am too, but you don't have him above Kobe. You're saying,
do I have him above Kobe?
yeah,
You know why I
because
don't? If he would
the
have won,
rings.
yeah, you know what it is about him, and I'm not
He
just
won
like,
two though. He
yeah, I'm
won
not.
two. Right.
Here's the problem with Olajuwon, and why Robert Horry gets more love than him. Horry moved on and got more rings and big spots. That's why they call him Big Shot Rob.
Robert
Olajuwon,
Horry. So what? Whoa, 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 what? Whoa, whoa, whoa! What are you saying? You're saying what are you saying with Robert Horry and Kareem Olajuwon?
well, I'm trying to tell you, young man, that Olajuwon clearly all-time great, but there's a lot of people out there.
And Horry is not
A lot of people will disagree with you. You know
an
why that
all-time
is?
great. No, I mean he is an all-time great. I
Hold
fuck
on.
about Horry
You
heavy,
know what? No,
but
seriously, you know why? You know why that is? He hit so many big shots,
I agree.
and that
He's the
matters to a lot
greatest.
of people.
He's the
That matters
greatest
to a lot of people.
He's the greatest role player of all time. I'll
Yeah,
give you that.
yeah, a lot of
But when
people
we're
will
talking,
agree with that.
hmm
A
but I
lot of
think it's
people will agree.
different.
No, I know what you're saying,
Yeah,
and you're
it's a
right.
whole different. We're
It's
having
a
whole
whole
different
different.
conversations. I think.
Yeah, all I'm saying to you is the reason why Robert Horry is remembered, and Akeem always gets the same old. Well, the reason why he won because Jordan wasn't there. That's what they all the Jordan holics, the national media. That's what they
I
say, and I
don't say
think it's
that, but yeah,
unfair. I think it's unfair to those Rocket teams, by the way. But
yeah,
Horry gets more love because he won with the Kobe and Shaq Lakers, and he won with Duncan Spurs. That's why
yeah,
he gets a lot of love. Now, to me, is Robert Horry a Hall of Famer? Yes, he is.
yeah.
Why?
I say so.
7 rings, and he was the you could argue up there with Jerry West and Bobby Dandridge, top three clutch players in the and Havlicek, top four clutch players in the history of the NBA.
I agree with that. But either
And
way, he's
all of
not.
them are Hall of Famous. All of them are Hall of Famous, in my
I feel
opinion.
like that's just such a different conversation for a
Yeah,
career
it
low
is,
usage player,
it is, it
right?
is.
Like we're not even having the same conversation that.
No, 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 we're not. And with that, I'm out of here, man. I'll see you. Have a good week. I'll be on. I'll probably come up Friday night and do NBA. All right. Oh, hold up. We're gonna get some more. Stay right here. All right, okay, Mr. Elijah Wan fan. Go ahead. Laurel's with us. Wait till he hooks up, and then we're gonna have this Elijah Wan. Not with me. We're gonna have this Elijah Wan discussion. I'll wait till Laurel pops in. He's here. Stick around, NBA fan, because we're gonna do some more. waiting for Laurel to unmute himself. Because he's a Rocket guy. He's from H Town. He remembers those teams. So let me continue with this with you. I got you, Laurel. Let me continue this with you. Okay, Laurel's here. Make sure he unmutes.
What's up, man? What's up, fellas? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. NBA fan is back. I'm good, man. Why don't you add to the Elijah One conversation?
I mean, the Elijah one conversation is one thing. I mean, it, man, to be honest, I,
Hmm.
even though I'm a Rockets fan, been all my
Hmm.
life, I don't know. I can't put him like. It's hard for me to put him in top 10, but it just seems like he belongs if you just saw his career or whatnot. Seems like he belongs, but it's too many names who got like better career numbers than him to like replace him with. He had the game, but it just seemed like too many guys got more like name recognition or whatnot. If that makes
And,
sense to you, I mean,
what did I tell you? You remember what I said about Elijah One? Remember what I
what's
said
what's
to you? I said to you between 1991 and 1996, he was clearly the best player in India. And Barkley
oh
robbed him
yeah,
from the.
yeah,
A
yeah,
lot of
I
Jordan
can see
fans don't
that.
want to hear that, but hey, I'm telling
Hey,
facts.
hey, but yo, Mace, man, let's fast forward to 2025, man. Because
Okay,
I heard y'all, you guys talking about it or whatnot, right?
yeah,
I
go ahead.
mean, how you feel about what's the current state of the Rockets, man? I mean,
No,
I don't know.
Fascinator in here, and I told you this. I had the Rockets winning 55 games this year. For them to go to Cleveland on Saturday night and beat Cleveland and sweep Cleveland in less than 3 days, and then go to Boston last night and beat them. I said this to everybody. They have one of the top three coaches right now, top two coach in the NBA right now in Udoka. Would you agree?
I mean, I have to necessarily agree, but you know, I since I've been watching the Rockets, you know, since the beginning of the season, and whatnot, things have changed or whatnot. It's changed like the pecking order in the team because I remember like at the beginning of the season, you know, Fred was probably taking the most shots on the team. Fred Van Fleet,
Oh, he
Van Vliet.
killed me Wednesday night, man. I had money on the Rockets to cover, and he killed me, man.
And one thing I will say is like eBay is opening the offense up right now, and it's just like on any given night, players can score. And but one thing that did shock me about email last night when Jason Tatum was trying to wake up or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Man, he changed the defense completely. Started
Mhm.
trapping Tatum in the fourth quarter, and it was just like lights out. We just stopped that big run. We came back from 12 points down in the fourth quarter, which is very surprising because Boston started hitting some timely shots or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you know they're definitely showing the NBA. I mean, we're not the talk, you know, it's still like we some kind of pups or whatever, new on the block or whatnot. So we're definitely making some noise right now because I know a lot of people locally, they were saying things like, well, this is the tough stretch of the schedule, tough stretch of the schedule. And now we beat Cleveland back to back
Right.
and then
Yep.
went in and beat the Celtics because, you know, hey, so we are definitely showing something.
Let
It
me
is
ask
surprising.
you, NBA fan, you got a comment on this?
Oh yeah, we talked about it a little earlier. Yeah, I mean, it is a little bit surprising to me just because honestly, I hadn't been paying attention to the Rockets. I knew they had some intriguing young pieces, but for them to be putting it all together at this point, I think the league as a whole, the people who, watch it on a casual level, didn't think that they would be performing like this year. I thought that a lot of people thought they'd be like a fringe play-in team. But yeah, I mean, they're putting it together right now.
Yeah. You see, with me, when I see a team win 12 in a row, I look at the coach, and it was him. And I said, this team is coming. And I said, 55 next year. Do they win the West? I think they're too young. But I will say this. Who's our boy, the French guy who coaches the Oklahoma City Thunder? Auntie loves this guy. I think he's a damn good coach, by the way. But him against Udoka, a battle of coaching in the playoffs will be fascinating. That'll be like a chess match. That'll be like a chess match.
I mean,
Love,
But
we'll see.
love,
If it,
love the Rockets, man. You should
I
catch a
mean,
couple games when you're back in town, bro.
if it gets to that, I'll be ultimately happy because I was having a conversation last night to where, man, we make the playoffs. Of course, as a fan, I'll be like disappointed if we didn't win a playoff series or whatnot because I didn't expect this team. I'm a fan, and I didn't expect us to be this good like we are beating these teams. I didn't expect it. It kind of came out of nowhere. But I'm gonna tell you something. We have a
Mhm.
player on our roster. I don't think no this guy is like scraping the bottom of what his potential is right now because of Man Thompson. His potential is so high that
yeah,
I don't, man. It's hard to see. Like
Hey,
for him to hit that game
yeah,
winner
him
last
and
night,
his
bro.
brother. Yeah.
Now, I did the Cleveland game last Wednesday night. That number 7 is a fucking monster. He was the kid who you stole at 20 a couple years ago in the draft.
Oh,
Oh,
Cam Whitmore.
you
He's a
talking about that dunk that Cam had? Probably.
No, no, this him. He dominated that game last Wednesday night, man, off the
and Cam
bench.
was like he was like a 12. He was like the 12th pick or something like that.
Oh,
No, he was
that
number
kid,
20. No, he was 20. He was
he
20.
was 20. I
He
did
was
that
20.
game.
Okay. I know
Yeah,
he went like way lower than what people thought he was supposed to
because he
go.
had attitude problems. That's
Yeah.
why. And I'll say it again. That boy, Wednesday night against Cleveland last week, he was the because Jared Green had an off game. He was the best player on the floor that night.
Hey, what it's looking like right now is like when teams trust the process, quote unquote, so to speak, or whatnot.
Hmm.
Man, it really thinks that. Man, I really think that we drafted like in the last since Harden left, since the
Hmm.
Harden era, or whatnot.
Hmm.
Man, if we had 6 draft picks since then, 6 or 7,
Hmm.
man, we probably hit on at least 6 of them, bro.
And that's why I told NBA fan earlier when we was
But
talking
let's
about the
see what
Rockets.
happens with your white boy. But yeah, y'all hitting on a lot right now.
He's on the end of the
But
bench.
but the thing is, when we sent him to the G League, it's like it was just like it wasn't fair. You got to come back up here because he
Mm.
went down into G League and dropped damn near 50 his first night down there. So it's just
That
like
boy, that Kentucky kid is good.
it
That
was
Kentucky
like,
kid.
bro, well, they brought him back up to just sit on the bench because I mean he wasn't gonna learn nothing in the G League. He would have got some
Let you
rotation
guys
minutes, but
talk. Go ahead. I'll let you
we
guys talk.
we sent him down there, and 3 games later we brought him right back, even though we don't have like serious rotation minutes for him right now.
Yeah, I really like how they're utilizing the G League a lot more. Like I know Jared Vanderbilt went back down there when he was recovering. But yeah, I think that they're, not necessarily that you should play with the league like that, but I mean, if you're bad at a certain area in your game, you just get a lot of reps up against able-bodied individuals doing that, right? So if you're bad with like pick and roll mid ranges off the left wing or something like that, you work on that like in the G League, especially if you're a younger player not getting minutes on your team.
Because one thing I would say, I saw something last night, and I was like, if Reed Shepard could be that guy for us, that guy Pritchard for
Yeah,
Boston, I was like, man,
he's a
if
lot
Reed,
bigger than Pritchard though. He's
yeah,
got a
he
lot
is.
more upside.
He does, but I'm just saying if he can fill that role for us right now, just come in, pick and pop, move around, or whatnot. Shoot some timely threes for us. I mean, that would be nice for him to be able to get in this season and get some minutes, like just playing like rotational minutes or whatnot. I think he could contribute in that way this year or whatnot. But
So
eventually,
what's he's like a combo guard, right? Reed
yeah,
Shepard.
straight up,
Okay.
yeah. Hmm.
So the plan eventually, like with the guard rotation, is to have him replace Van Vliet. You guys think, or
I don't know. Here's the thing, man. I think when we gave Fred that contract, of course everybody was like, "Wow, Fred got that." But man, I'm not gonna lie. But this core, I mean, I'm not saying the usefulness of Fred is over because he does still provide somewhat of like a calmness
yeah,
to the team or whatnot. Because you can't underestimate leadership. Now, is leadership worth $44 million a year? I don't think so. But he has a team option this year that'll kick in. So if he resigns, like at this point, I wouldn't really be mad at it. But the thing the Rockets got to look out for in the future is, can we be wasting money like that on Fred VanVleet when
That's
you
the thing.
have up and coming players that need to get paid and need to stay on the team?
So I
So
know Jalen Green just got the extension, right?
him and LP, yeah, Alpha Shingle, they both got extensions this offseason.
Okay. So you're
They'll start.
probably Jesus. I don't know if he can retain this team though, right? Just because Amon Thompson, he's going to need to get paid here in the next couple of years. Same with Jabari Smith. If Reed gets anywhere near what we think he could be in regards to potential, right? He's going to be demanding 30 mil a year, right? So yeah, that's another issue that you have with young teams, right? You gotta not only do you need to just get that talent initially, but you need to know which of the ones have the
So,
highest upside and complement to each other, and then build around them.
but
Because you
one
can't
thing,
sign everybody if you
well, one
retain
thing, I,
at this
one,
level.
well, one thing I will say is this: we're not a small market team, and we have probably one of the richest owners in the league. And I think his arrogance of our owner or whatnot, he is just heavily going to. If you're worth your salt or whatnot, I think that he'll probably come off the dollars, because one thing our general manager did this offseason, it was like, I guess they had that conversation like, look, fellas, we don't think LP and Jalen, we don't think, I mean, so far, I guess if they had played the season out and went into their fourth year, they would have been maybe like unrestricted this offseason or whatnot. But one thing we did, we kind of gave them some flexibility, and they didn't sign a full max contract where you had guys like Evan Mobley and what's his name in Detroit? I'm drawing a blank right now. Um,
What position?
Point guard, Detroit.
Oh, Cunningham.
Yeah, like they
Cunningham.
got those, like they got maxes or whatnot, right? Jalen nor LP, they didn't receive the max.
Mhm.
It's like we didn't. I mean, they would have just. They probably would have done better if they could have just waited through the off season or whatnot, or gone all season long, risking injury, risking this and that. So we wasn't like real quick to go out and get them max deals or whatnot. So Jalen, I think, signed like 3 more years for 136, and LP signed a 5-year deal for 185 or whatnot. I mean, sometimes you gotta use your leverage against what you really got coming on, because it's like
Yeah.
with this team this year, like Jabari might be looking to maybe get paid this year, but it's like, why would we pay you, what you think you can get when we got a man Thompson who's come in and we like 15-3 since he's been in the starting lineup? I
Yeah.
mean, it's called like having options or whatnot. So sometimes you can keep players if they're willing to stay at a reduced contract or whatever. So
Yeah. And we're talking reduced. We're meaning like 30 million instead of like 45. And what does that really mean to a player who's 21, 22, assuming that they'll have a long career? They could probably get it on the back end.
And they'll
So,
take the
yeah.
money, by the way.
What's up?
They'll take the money. The younger guy, like the 22-year-old, he'll take the money.
Mhm. But I mean, it seems like a couple of them are, like he was saying, they're taking some pay cuts if they feel like they're in a good situation.
Oh yeah, that's true too. Law's right about that. If you like, I'll give you a perfect example. Westbrook took a major pay cut to play with Jokic.
Well, that's a different situation. Like, wasn't he getting just like league minimum contracts for the past couple of years anyway?
yeah, he did
Yeah,
take he took the major pay cut when he went with the Lakers or whatnot. I don't know. I mean, he probably did himself a discredit. He probably wanted to be back home or whatnot. I mean,
yeah.
and that's fine. Do what makes you happy. But no, he really took the pay cut. It's just like you making $3 million in Los Angeles. Is that like really making like
Uh,
$500,000? I mean, he
yeah.
took
It's
a
true. Yeah, it's true.
major pay cut.
He got two.
Yeah.
And the thing about Westbrook at this point is I think he probably just wants to win and be useful at this point because he's been an MVP before. He was a top 10 player in the league for the
A
stretch of 2
long time,
contracts. So
for over a decade.
he's gotten the
For over a
max, and the
decade.
max doesn't mean what it means today when Westbrook was getting him, but he's made probably close to like $400 million in his career. So that's not necessarily a concern for
I
him.
will say this right now, and you guys going to disagree, or maybe you will agree. He gets one chip with Jokic, he's going to go down as one of the greatest point guards to ever play the game. If he
Sure.
just wins one ring,
Somewhere within the top, what,
top
12?
20, I'll say top 15, 12, yeah.
Well, he's probably that already, right? I don't know what this
He got a lot of
really does
collateral
for
damage. NBA fan, he got a lot of collateral damage he has to change.
him. You know,
Just like
I don't
Kyrie.
think there's anything that he can do. Like his career kind of is what it is at this point.
No, he wins with
Even if
Jokic.
he
A lot of
wins a couple, honestly, like who does that push him above?
no, that's the
Maybe
point. It doesn't put him above nobody. That's the
it
point.
might push him above Chris Paul,
I'm telling
right?
you, what push him above. Push him above Kyrie. For damn sure, Kyrie got
Mm,
worse baggage than him.
maybe
Yeah,
okay.
you know what? Because Kyrie has I want to say finals appearances, but I mean, he got hurt in 2 of them. So I mean, fuck, you wasn't there to play. Um,
Yeah, I guess
and
he could definitely become the second best point guard of his era if he were to win one. So
Yeah,
he
he'll be
clearly he
behind
clears
Steph Curry.
Lillard, he clears Kyrie, he clears
Yeah,
Chris Paul. I don't know about like Parker or anything like that, but yeah, those
no,
other
he
big
doesn't pass
ones in
that.
his era, he probably clears.
Parker got 5 rings.
Yeah.
Nah, I
So,
mean
but I
4
mean, he
rings.
was it.
Four.
Westbrook was a high usage MVP player, right? So it depends on how you want to parse up that conversation. But yeah, I can see what you're saying. Like in regards to being at the top of his era, I don't think you'd ever. There's nothing he can do to go above like Magic or Isaiah,
Nah, nowhere near. He had
Stockton, maybe.
no, no.
He might be able to get above like Peyton with a couple rings, which I don't think he's going to get because I don't think Denver's that good. But yeah, I guess there is room to grow. But I mean, at this point, ultimately, right? You're somewhere you're a Hall of Famer, you're an all-time great. So it really doesn't matter anymore. You're not about to be the greatest of anything, no matter what you do at this point.
Exactly. But just getting one ring, he can go. He can retire a happy man.
Yeah.
but you do got to realize what that guy actually did, though. I mean, he did something that no other player has really done before. Like all of when he was going through those triple doubles and all that for those 3-4 years in a row, bro. I mean, we haven't seen the likes of that ever before. I mean, that was a tremendous accomplishment. Even though we could say he was the man, high usage on the team, and I mean, guys cleared out for him to get those rebounds and whatnot. I mean, it could be like he could be the ultimate selfish player or whatnot. But I
Yo, hold up
mean,
for a
just
second. No, just give me 1 second. Yo, Dusty, pull up, bro. Pull up. Go ahead, Lyle. Keep talking.
now hold on. I gotta go on mute for a second. Hold on.
All right. Don't don't bitch mess Kyrie, Mace. I'm reading the chat. Parker is too
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah. But yeah, what is your and I want to get back to this. We can finish up this Westbrook conversation, but how is Kobe above Hakeem? I don't understand it because, like you said, that 91 to 96 stretch, Kobe doesn't have a stretch like that.
He had it. The problem with Kobe was,
When was he the best player in the league for 6 years?
boy, a lot of people will argue with you with this. I'm gonna
Okay,
go with
just
Kobe
give me a stretch.
2004 to 2009. He was in 2010. He could have been labeled the best player. He could have.
Okay.
He was. That was
So
him,
he
Yeah.
wasn't
No. Now that's facts. When Shaq left,
like,
even though they kind of went down for a few years or whatnot, Kobe didn't have any help. They say, quote unquote, or whatnot, right?
yeah.
But yeah, he probably yeah
From '04
from one
to
when Shaq
'09.
left, and then when he
Yeah.
tacked on those two rings on at the end or whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, bro, Kobe.
so you got Duncan entering his prime. So and I guess when you think about it, Hakeem wasn't undisputedly the best player from 91 to 96.
Oh, clearly. Clearly.
Because you could argue Malone, you could argue Barkley, you could argue Jordan during that time. But Yeah. I just really like his impact on both sides of the court. He was like elite. He was all time on both sides of the court. Hakeem was. On top of that, it's like for Kobe's rings, I look at it, I'm not gonna say I look at it as like half a ring, but if you look at his finals performances, right?
Mm-hmm.
The front one and the back one, he played like shit in both of them, right?
Yeah.
They didn't win rings based off of how great of a player he
He
was,
did
right?
choke in game seven. If it wasn't for Pau Gasol, he did choke in game
That's
seven
another
against
one. But
them.
I'm not so he won 2 rings being like arguably like the third best player on his team, right?
Hey man,
Um
no, 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 no,
I'll
no,
let
no,
you
no.
two talk about
That's
that. I'm
that's
gonna go get me a
blasphemy right
bottle of
now.
water. I'm gonna drink my
uh
No,
bottle of
that's
water. I'll let you guys
that's
talk
that,
about
that's
okay.
blasphemous right now.
We can
I
we can
mean,
go to we can go to the O 04. We can go to basketball reference and go to O
it,
04 and look
it,
at
it,
how he played versus
it,
Tayshaun Prince in O 04,
hey,
how he
look,
played against Austin Crucier in
hold
2000.
on.
But
So if we start doing that, then that means LeBron doesn't have 4 rings. He really has 3 rings because we're not gonna count the bubble and nobody wanted to play and nobody wanted to be there and blah blah whatever we want to say. If we start nitpicking like that, we got to nitpick. Well, if Draymond Green never would have elbowed him in the nuts or whatnot, right? Well, maybe since we took the bubble away, now
it's not that.
so
It's
now
not
LeBron
okay.
only has
So
2 rings now. I mean, so come on, man, you
all
can't do
right.
that.
So here's where I'm at with it. I hear where you're going, but I don't think that that necessarily relates in the same way for this simple reason, right? So we're not talking about like banned seasons or anything. We're talking about events where there was nothing hindering him but his competition, and he played bad, but won those rings because he had a greater player who was the best player in that series that ultimately propelled his team to win. That's what happened in 2000, and that's what happened in 2004, right? Everybody was going through the same situation in the bubble. Nobody knew what was going on with COVID. They were all enclosed in the same area. So everybody went through the same thing.
Well, you know what? Now, here's what I remember about basketball history. I remember against the Indiana Pacers or whatnot, Shaq got in foul trouble, fouled out. Kobe brought one of those games home down the stretch, bro. Like
He
so,
did. He did. He brought one down the stretch.
yeah, yeah. So stop it. I mean,
He brought one. Hey. There were 5. How many games was that series? Was it 5 games?
I can't remember. Like I can
I
I'll be lying. I can't remember.
Yeah. So it's 4 or 5 games. Good job for playing good one half. Good for you. So, but like for you to average like 15% on like 32, field goal percentage throughout that series, and it's not like you had Gary Payton on the other side of you. And the player who wasn't anywhere near considered an elite wing player outplayed you, right? And
Okay.
that's just one of the finals where he was carried, but we're using that as a bonus to his legacy. And then when we look at how he played against Detroit, the issue against Detroit wasn't necessarily that what's the guy's name? Ben Wallace locked down Shaq. If you look at how Shaq played in 2004, he played like how he played against everybody. He dominated.
Check this out.
He didn't have a running mate that series.
Wait,
That's what
wait,
happened.
check this out. One thing that how I would feel about it is like I understand your argument.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. No,
Oh shit.
you there? Well, let me try to continue. One thing I can say is Kobe did have the LA advantage or whatnot, right? And he probably did things that
Y'all hear me?
absolutely. Yeah, I can hear you, man.
All right, word.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I wanted to let you finish.
Oh, okay. I mean, he had the advantage of playing in LA. I mean, you could like see like watching a player over their entire career or whatnot. I mean, the Lakers were kind of stacked when he first got there. He didn't get to come in and play his first couple of years in the league like he thought he should have, and like most people wanted to see. But I think over the course of his career, I mean, it's just hard because like Kobe's legacy or whatnot, it really carries him a little bit further than let's say Hakeem's legacy or whatnot. I mean, it just
I
like
agree. So you you're about to get into the optics.
could be. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I was saying with Mace earlier. It's like when you mention Kobe, it's like okay, we disregard like what actually happens, and then we start making up Chuck Norris stories about his work ethic and him as a competitor, right? When in reality, it's like he was selectively aggressive, right? So he was talking crap and everything like that to Kwame Brown and Smush Parker. But what did he do when Karl Malone was talking crazy to his wife, right? What did he do when he was in the face of multiple underachieving seasons with him being the main person for that team? Did he just try to did he just, instead of going into the gym for 5 hours a day, did he go to six to try to improve, or did he ask for a trade? What did he do in the face of controversy?
I mean, what he did in the face of controversy, he had like a what ooh, ooh, a 5 year hiatus or whatnot from I don't know how many years he probably missed the playoffs, but I mean it was either one and done. I mean he didn't do anything for like a few years. I mean they had to retool. They had to get some things back together. I mean, I remember trade being on the table that the NBA commissioner
Yep.
said, "No, we're not going to let you and Chris Paul play together for some reason." I mean, he had to go against some things or whatnot, but you can't do it by yourself.
I agree. Yeah.
You can't do it by yourself, man. So when you that argument that you gave about Paul Gasol or whatnot, man, it's just like, what do you expect him to do? Go in there with
I, no, I don't.
just
I don't fault him at all for Paul Gasol and those second rings. That's why I think it's a really close conversation between Kobe and Hakeem, right? Because what he did on the back end, where he was the main guy, for two rings, on top of just the consistent performance he had over the course of his career. He's
but
obviously one of the greatest players of all time. I just
but
think I don't hold those other rings that he has over Hakeem to the same level as you'd hold a ring generally when you think of an all-time great player having like five rings, right? It's not all five of his rings aren't Tim Duncan rings, right? Where he's obviously the focal point of their defensive strategy. For the most part, he's the focal point of what they're doing offensively as well. So when you think about that, and then you kind of juxtapose, what if he had a player, what if Hakeem had a player who he could work off of when he was early in development? I don't, I think that just based off of Hakeem and just his disposition, he probably would have been able to make that work a little bit longer. You
Before you
know,
guys continue, I just want to say one thing. Good morning to my man, Brooklyn's finest, the underrated number one grinder, underrated darkness, and let me say one more thing. Dusty's in the building. Good morning to him. And you guys are having a great conversation. So I'm gonna put my mic on mute and let you guys continue. Go ahead and be a fan.
Good morning.
oh yeah, that was
Man,
it.
good
I
afternoon.
have to say about that. It's a close conversation, for sure. And we all respect Kobe. I just think that when we get into these conversations, there's an echo. I think the new guy has us. He's like listening to it on YouTube and then close the window.
No, my YouTube is closed, so it's not me.
Okay, I
It
thought
might
it.
be my mic anyway.
It ain't
Hello,
me.
can you
I'm
hear?
on mute.
Okay, yeah, okay. I don't hear anymore, but essentially, like, yeah, it's just you have to look at their careers with a fine tooth comb when you're having like certain conversations about people who had, careers that were considered all time great ones. And I mean, it's unfortunate, and yeah, at certain points you need to rely on your teammates, but that's just another, checkpoint that we need to use to be able to determine who we think is better or give our rationale as to why that's so.
Yeah.
Grinder, Loud, you guys got anything to say?
Well, what's the conversation was about? Is
We're
about
talking about Kobe Bryant, how great he is. Do you think he's top 10?
yeah, Kobe is an all time great. You know, I mean, like let's understand. After Shaq left, there's a lot of people say Kobe cannot win another championship, and then he added pieces, and he won two more championships. You know, here's a man that plays hurt all the time, always dedicated. You know, a lot of people never really talk about it, his defense. You know, 9 or 10 years straight, he been on defensive team, and you know, and so when people always talk about Kobe, they always he's like 10th on time and this and that and everything. And I'm not gonna say his name. They always want to say that this guy. I hate to say his name, so excuse what I'm saying. I don't want to say his name, but they always said he bet that this guy better than Kobe. How? And plus, Kobe had a killer instinct. You know, it's like Kobe's all time great for me, and so put some respect on his name.
Well, we can't deny the guy who's. And I guess it's me got the echo. Hold on.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm still here. I guess I got the echo.
No, you go ahead and speak.
No,
Yeah, just
yeah, I
come
got
back
it.
out and come back in real quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
So,
But yeah, in regards to like the killer, oh, shit. But all right, yeah, we'll just wait.
You hear it now?
Uh, I don't. Nah, I do.
All right,
Is
Laurel's back.
Laura, are you still here?
Yeah, he's back.
No, I left out and came back under, but it got to be somebody else then.
Okay, hold on.
I know it's not me.
Yeah, it's not me either.
Okay, so I'm speaking now. So
Just speak anyway. Go ahead.
nah, mate, it's kind of hard to hit his double. Well, I think it's better now, but um, damn, man, all that echo talk, I lost my train of thought. I know we're talking about Kobe and all that, but I mean, the justification is pretty much made for me, bro. It's like, man,
I don't hear
um,
it no more. Go ahead.
yeah, the justification has kind of been made for me. I mean, once you start counting rings and all that kind of stuff, man, it's hard to get over the ring talk sometimes, right? Because we all saw Robert Ory play over the course of his career and whatnot. I heard you talking about this earlier, but we all saw him play earlier, and this is like, man, you can't discount those 7 rings. He got to be in the hall. He needs to be in the Hall of Fame. But I mean, if you saw him play on a nightly basis, that's not a guy who needs to stand next to Shaq in the Hall of Fame, bro, or next to Hakeem. I
Let me
mean,
tell you something. God,
he had
Laurel,
fortunate
back up.
situations to where he played with all time great players like Tim Duncan,
Laurel,
Tony Parker,
back up.
Shaq and
Back up.
Kobe, Hakeem Olajuwon. I mean, he was blessed
Back
to
up.
be. He was lucky to be
Shaquille
on good
O'Neal.
teams, bro. He was lucky to be on
Shaquille,
good teams.
Shaquille O'Neal. Kobe Bryant back in 2019 before God, 5 years ago last week, left this earth tragically. And Tim Duncan, all three said, without him, they don't win certain rings. They're not lying. Do I have to go back to
yeah,
Sacramento? Do I have to
yes.
go back to Sacramento in 2002?
Mace, look,
Those
man.
are facts.
You
You
could say
cannot
if it wasn't for
deny that.
John Paxson, Michael Jordan wouldn't have won one of his championships. We can't do that, man. Everybody got a player, but we know who the best player on the team is.
has
Yes,
nothing
you
to
do.
do.
Okay, so should
No,
John
and it
Paxson
has
be
to do
should
with
should
that
should, should
player.
Craig
It has
Hodges
to,
be in the Hall of Fame? He was making big
no.
shots on
But
Michael
no,
Jordan
you
team.
gotta understand something. It's not who's the best player. It's who is the clutch player in the brightest lights.
Should B.J.
That's what
Armstrong
matters.
be in the I mean in the Hall of Fame now?
I've never seen B.J. Armstrong do anything.
I
It was
mean,
John
eh,
Paxson and Steve Kerr. That's why Steve Kerr has a prestigious career coaching in the NBA.
well, the thing is, Robert Ory, he wouldn't have been as wide open as he was if the ball wasn't tipped back to him. If Shaq wasn't in the paint,
I'll be right
drawing
back. Go ahead.
extra coverage or whatnot, he wouldn't have been wide open to take those shots. I mean, you just giving people with. I mean, come on, bro. The dude didn't even average 10 points for his career. I don't think so. No, I'm not giving 7 rings a pass. I mean, it sounds nice you won 7 rings, but you did play with possibly what 10 of the top 20 players in NBA history on your team at the same time. I mean, you got lucky. You chose the right spot, bro. I mean, no, he does not belong in the Hall of Fame.
I think he's closer to around 15. I mean, at least in his peak, he was around 15 points a game. So he's a really, major contributor on a lot of his championship teams. Obviously, at the end, his production kind of tailed off. But I get what you're saying. I think there's a. I
But
mean, we don't. Yep. Go ahead.
go. No, I wait. I wait. I wait.
I think that um, the timeliness of some of his impact is definitely, okay, just because when you look at the full composition of the Hall of Fame, there are a lot of people who are averaging like 10 to 12 points in the Hall of Fame, but they were on, a lot of Bill Russell's team, like most of his team is Hall of Famers, right? Not all of them were as clutch or productive as a Robert Ory. So when you start looking at it from that perspective, right? Like, what is the baseline for who we let into the Hall of Fame? Robert Horry probably makes a cut. And I think that there is something to be said, though, for him not being consistently a Hall of Fame player, him not consistently being an impactful player. But when you just look at the highs of his career, I think that's what got a lot of people into the Hall of Fame. Would I want to start a franchise with Robert Horry? I wouldn't want to start it, but I'd like him to be a part of it. But yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
I feel like this that there is no such thing luck when you hit clutch shots. Ain't no luck when you in a certain moment that you come up big. And I know that the Hall of Fame certain criteria had changes like seems like every decade and stuff and but there are some players of the NBA in the past have played clutch when the time like they was it was a certain time, brother, makes you remember that they said Walt Clyde Frazier, the great Nick, was not a Hall of Fame. This back in the mid 80s, and then and it seems like when you look at it, he played clutch, you know, a certain moments and especially regular season, he played clutch, but especially in the playoffs too. And so we'll get back to Robert Horry and stuff, he got 7 rings. 7 rings, he ain't get no 7 rings for nothing. And so we have to really, really understand that because to look at Robert Horry's career, you can say he's a journeyman. He went here and there and everything, but we have to understand this. Wherever he went, he was a winner. And we have to understand there's other players has not showed up at those moments. And so I have to look at it that way. You know, like there's some people say that back in the day that Bill Russell won all those rings from how Bill Russell won all those rings. Look at the players he have and stuff. but he played his role and helped win those titles, right? So now we gonna say Bill Russell should not be part of this conversation. I mean, the late great Bill Russell should not be part of this conversation. So I'm just saying that we have to be very careful, very, very careful when we talking about moments and we talking about rings and stuff. And get back to Robert Horry. He hit big shots, you know, in crucial times. And in his career, he have over 18,000 points. There are some Hall of Famers had less than that. And that's all I'm gonna say about it. You just gotta really think about it.
What I was gonna say before is by all three of those guys said that Robert Horry was the reason why they got a couple of rings. That was their quote. Go ahead, NBA fan.
Yeah. All I was gonna say is like when you say something like, "Oh, should a B.J. Armstrong be in the Hall of Fame because he hit a couple of shots like 1 or 2 games?" Right? I think Corey's put together like off seasons and stretches of like scoring like 13 or 18 points in the fourth quarter. Like he was a high volume clutch player throughout the course of like a decade, right? On top of like he has some good cumulative stats in his favor. So it's not, I understand what you're saying about the low usage. He was pretty high usage and impactful and clutch and it's like he was a major contributor in the most crucial spots to 7 championships. It's like John Paxson, but he did it 12 more times, right? So, you know, that's what I'm at with it. I do think he probably deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Just because when you think about it, not everybody in the Hall of Fame scored, you know, 30 points a game or were, impactful. I think when we think of Hall of Fame, a lot of people kind of associate it with like, oh, he's a multiple time All Star. He was always on All NBA first team. That's not necessarily what that means, right? All right.
Yeah.
But all right, I appreciate you, Mace. I'm about to head out. I got a meeting at 1.
Nice talking
All
to
right,
you.
y'all. All right, yeah. Y'all take it easy.
Are you there? Hello? Good afternoon. Welcome to Brother Mace Taggart channel. It's no one grinder. Um, trying to hold it down. Till you get back and everything, and hope everybody is fine. Everybody doing well.
Same
And
here. Hey, let me ask you this. Let me get into this with you, okay? Let
yes,
me get
sir.
right into this. NBA fan, thank you, bro. Appreciate you. I'll see you Sunday. Um, Robert, let's think about Robert Horry. Aaron Glenn coming back home. What you think?
It's it's good. It's okay. I mean, one of the Jets own come back home. Yeah.
Right now, to me, and I've been saying this, the Jets are the most talented team in that division. with Miami in turmoil, and it's only going to get worse for Miami when the season begins because they don't do shit right if you put it right in front of them. I think Buffalo is very wounded now.
And I want to bring some more Buffalo, but I get to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, if you remember Mace, right? We had those
Yeah.
talks throughout the years about Kansas City and Buffalo. And then I know you said this, and I'm with you on this. You could beat Kansas City all you want. The only way you gotta beat Kansas City, you gotta knock them off the playoffs, right?
Yep.
So what I done on my channel, right? When I pull it
Hmm.
up, I'm gonna send it to you. I told people I said it's good. Yup, yeah, yeah, told me the regular season. Yeah, y'all beat. Yeah, you went and took it to Kansas City at home. But that don't mean nothing.
Exactly.
You gotta knock Kansas City off the out the playoffs.
You know what's the difference between Kansas City and Buffalo as we speak? When they first played 5 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo had the defense, Kansas City had the offense.
Right.
5 years later, Buffalo's offense is okay. The quarterback is better, but the Chiefs have proven they have a championship defense now.
Yes.
He had 5 chances to get a half a yard for a first down. He only made it one time. That's all you need to know.
And go more on your point, brother Mason. The few days ago I was saying like this. You see who's the big brother and the little brother. Kansas City said, "Little brother, you going home. This is not this. You're not in this league. Go home." And that's what happened. But get back to
I'm
the
going to
Jets.
say it again.
Aaron Glenn. Okay.
To beat the Chiefs, you have to have two things. You have to have a defense that can match up with their defense, and you have to have an arsenal to throw to. And the only team who had that, who beat them, was Cincinnati.
Yes.
It's easy to figure out with the Chiefs. You have to have firepower to beat them. I'm not
You
talking
have to.
about rank bank firepower like the Dolphins have, who never do nothing when they play good teams. I'm talking about you have to have firepower like the Rams, like Detroit, Tampa Bay. Those are the type of teams that will match up very well against the Chiefs. I think Houston healthy next year will take that next step to challenge the Chiefs. If you don't have that, you're not beating them. Not.
And also too, brother Mace, you gotta have a strong running game too.
I agree. I agree.
That's what
I
it
think
was.
a
It's
team that's coming
consistent.
close with their personnel is the Broncos. I think the
Yeah.
Broncos are getting there. But these other teams, Lamar Jackson, you shouldn't have lost to Josh Allen. Josh Allen, as good of a quarterback he is, he showed his ass on Sunday night. The Bengals can't get their act together. There's always something with them. Now, let me
If they
throw your team.
go ahead. Okay.
Getting Aaron Glenn is going to bring something to that team that they had with Salah, but they lost it once they got rid of Salah. It's going to bring a stability to them now. He's a former
Yeah.
Jet. Woody's going to respect him. He ain't going to fuck with him. He already let Rodgers know either you're in or you're out, and I don't know what Aaron's going to do. But I will say this: the way Aaron Rodgers played down the stretch with Devontae Adams, I will keep Aaron Rodgers one more year. I will draft an offensive lineman at 7,
Yeah.
and then I think the Jets are ready to go. I think the Jets are right there. They just the owner this and the quarterback this a bunch of ass clowns, but that talent is still young, and they better
Right.
get
That's
it
what I'm
done
saying. I
soon.
would keep the young core. Yes, I would. And I fix the offensive line. People talking about when to get a quarterback. Well, hold your. We need to fix the offensive line.
Yeah, I think the Jets are right there. Matter of fact, I'll say it right now. As we speak, the Jets right now are the best team in the division. Because, like I said, I think Buffalo's very wounded. Miami's a mess. And New England's a year away from being real competitive again with Vrabel.
But let me say this about New England, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
know that I don't want to get off subject. Again, a black coach is not getting time to put his vision in. And then when they fire him, I'm talking about Buffalo. I'm talking about New England.
New England, yeah.
I didn't like that.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Yeah. I'm gonna be out of here because my mom is coming, and I'm gonna speak to
Okay,
her for a
thank
little
you.
while. But I'll be back on tonight, bro. I'll be back on at
Okay,
a
what
quarter
time?
to seven tonight. So just pull up, all right? I appreciate you. Happy belated New Year, man.
Thank you. Likewise to you and your family.
All right, man. You too.
All right, bye.
Underrated darkness in the house. I want to thank Dusty, underrated darkness, Laro, an NBA fan for being here. We'll see you at 6:45 tonight, exactly 6 hours from now for whip around tonight, and we'll do the NBA. You'll do the NHL hockey tonight, and we'll break into the NBA. Atlanta is playing against Houston tonight. You know how I feel about Houston. And the other game is Portland and Milwaukee later tonight after the hockey game. But we're gonna do both sports, so just pull up, have some fun. I'll let you know what's going on in the games, and everybody have a good time tonight. So we'll see you later tonight. I'm trying to get the right thing. There it is. And enjoy your day, fellas. Thanks for being here. Enjoy your lunch. Get home safely. See you tonight.